live. Evening, everybody. Welcome to the Arcadia Roundtable Gaming Podcast. That unfamiliar face that you can see over there at the far side, that's Luke. He's my co-host. He's been missing for months. Luke, great to have you back. How you doing?
Good. I'm glad to be back. Yeah. I've been on many voyages and now I've returned triumphantly.
Triumphantly?
Yep.
We'll be the judge of that. We'll let chat be the judge of that, but we'll hope for a triumphant return. But before we get into finding out what you've been up to, we've also got someone that you won't have met around Gaming Arcadia before, but a lot of you will know him as he's a regular on ACG's podcast and has his own channels and content that we'll get into in a little bit. Jonny, thanks for coming on and talking to us and talking to our chat and just, embracing us. It's much, much appreciated. How are you?
I'm great, and thanks for the invite. I was honored to get it. Cool to be here.
It's I don't want to down talk it, but it's not an honor as such. However, if you have a nice time, then we all win.
Take the compliment, man.
I will take it. And everyone that is here in chat, thank you for coming through. Thank you for supporting us as you always do. We're going to get into some things. I think, where should we start? So because the Arcadia Roundtable has been on and off a little bit lately, we were on a few weeks ago. We did a big triumphant, dramatic, well-announced return. ACG came and joined us, Karak. We had a good conversation. And then the next 2 weeks kind of fell through. So we're back on again, but it means it's been a little bit stop-start. And the brilliant thing about that is it means we've got months and months of games to catch up on. So I've been playing a lot, Luke's been playing a lot, Jonny's been playing a lot. And we're going to start with that, then we'll look back and we'll get to know Jonny a little bit. No, that's rude of me. Let's get to know Jonny a little bit. Put the games to one side, everybody. Jonny, who are you? What do you do?
Who the hell are you?
Yeah.
I am a 37-year-old software engineer, gamer, guitar enjoyer. Also enjoy shows, movies, that type of pop culture stuff. So a bunch of those things. I play a lot of Souls games. That used to be a big thing. In the last 2-3 years, I've also been playing some League of Legends. And I always mix it up with whatever new adventure game is coming up. Indiana Jones, like this type of stuff to chill back as well. And I'm also a pretty big Final Fantasy fan. I know you have some overlap there. I've played every Final Fantasy game ever. And, well, like a few exceptions, but a lot of them. And so I love those games too. But I haven't played any turn-based. Well, probably Claire Obscure was the only one in recent times. So I've been kind of on hiatus with turn-based. Outside of that,
we can get into some of that. I'm interested in all of that, but first of all, so you're a gamer, you're a musician, you do all of these things, you create content, you've got a beautiful East End London accent, which I'm sure people will pick up on. So you're living in London right now, yeah? You're in the UK, got an accent.
Right, yeah, I don't have the accent, but I do live here.
You've definitely got an accent. Say Iron Man for me.
Iron Man.
Yeah, okay, so explain that for us. Explain where that accent comes from. What's your history?
Okay. So I was born in Brazil. So pure breed Brazilian. And when I was 12, I moved to Spain, lived many years there. And when I did my Master of Science stuff, I came here to the UK. That's where I kind of kept on practicing English, and that became my sort of go-to favorite language. So I've moved around quite a bit. That's why it's a bit hard to pinpoint. Mm-hmm. And I started learning English quite young because I had a British college. They say college, but it's like a high school you go to where they speak English. So I started kind of early, but yeah, in defiance of it being a British school, I picked up a rather American, affliction on the accent.
Affliction. No, that's all good. That's all good. So where along the journey there, you've become a content creator and you do gaming content as well as other things. Tell us about that. How did you get into that and what is it that you do?
So pretty much it started when this was about 10 years ago. I was watching a guy called Northern Lion. You might know him. He's a big Let's Player on YouTube. So he did these Let's Plays and he mixed in humor with playing the game and stuff. And I felt like that was something I really wanted to do. So I got into doing Let's Plays. It was wildly unpopular. It never succeeded, but I had a great time doing it. I still remember like Divinity Original Sin 2. I did 92 episodes, 1 hour. So I committed.
Oh, yeah.
I got the part of like committing and enjoying the process down. And since then I've changed around a lot of what I do with content, and it's always been for fun. Right now I'm doing quite a bit of League of Legends, like commentary, commentating my journey there. And then I also do some videos more so about mindset and things like that. Like the latest one I did was how to deal with backlog as a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
And so these types of things that people run into, which are maybe mental issues or kind of like outside of game things, I like to tie them in with games, and maybe a game that speaks to me in some way. I can link it back to some psychology stuff or some, mindset stuff.
So I've seen some of your content, especially some of your League of Legends content, and you're very, very good at talking off the cuff while you play a game and capturing content in that way. I'm quite envious of that because I'm terrible. I have to script everything and go over things and re-record, and then hate myself for a little while, script it again, re-record it again, and eventually maybe put out a piece of content. But you're very, very good at just fluently speaking about what you're doing and keeping it very cohesive and coherent and easy to understand and follow. So it's good stuff, especially if you're looking to learn about some League of Legends characters and things like that, which is awesome. So channel link in the description. Do hit it up. Do give it a subscribe because it's all good stuff. We're going to dig into your game some more, talk about what you've been playing, find out a little bit more about what you like and things. But I'm going to speak to Luke as well because I want to know how triumphant this return is. Luke, what have you been up to?
Not too much, to be honest. Work has been busy, and then just getting gaming in there as well. So I've finished a fair few things over the last few months, I'd say. And now I'm in a state of that time of year where I don't have enough time, and there are always so many games coming out. So I'm not struggling yet, but I'm going to be struggling in about 2 weeks to, finish anything, I think.
There is September is pretty well packed, and there's a lot of stuff coming. There's a lot of stuff on the backlog already, a lot of stuff in progress, and you finished a lot of games. Because when was the last time we did a podcast together? It must have been at least like 2 or 3 months. Yeah,
it's a good couple of months, isn't it? Yeah.
So give me some of your gaming highlights from that time, things that you've got stuck into. Give us one, and we'll have a little talk about it.
Well, I finished Death Stranding 2, obviously, which was a big. I did it. I went and did it. So yeah, I finished that a couple of weeks after it released. I can't even remember when it came out now. But I remember finishing it. And just after that, I then went straight on to DK Bonanza, and I finished that as well.
So both of these games you were looking forward to like a donut, because neither of them were ever going to turn out to be good, right? This was conversations that we had, especially Donkey Kong. Like, that looked terrible. Death Stranding, divisive, but if you like it, you like it, and I know that you like it. So now the dust has settled and you played both of those. Did they live up to your lofty expectations?
They did. Yeah, they did. They were both. Yeah, I know, it's a lie. They were terrible. No, they were both excellent. I mean, they were both really, really, really good. In very, very different ways. And I've kind of like, the year's not over, but those two and Expedition 33 kind of, I keep sort of changing where I'm putting those in terms of my own personal rankings, because every so often I'll remember something from one of the games, and that will kind of like push it up, and then I'll remember something else from another game and be like, but that was really good, wasn't it? So, they were both superb. And I think I don't know which will win Game of the Year this year, for example. But in any other year, I think they would have all been very strong contenders or like front runners to win Game of the Year. But they're in a year where they're against each other, which is interesting. So it's going to be really interesting to see where they land. But yeah, both of those games are just terrific games.
Okay, Jonny, have you played both?
yeah, I've beaten both of those, and if I had to pick, I would take Death Stranding because I love the journey in that. It was amazing, and there is so much attention to detail in the 3D modeling of everything, the kind of artistic design and stuff. I mean, obviously, Clair Obscur also very artistic, very beautiful looking. But there was something really evocative for me with Death Stranding, and I thought they nailed the pacing this time, which was the big problem last time. You have a lot more encounters with characters outside of holograms. It works really well as a journey, and I felt one of the few games where after I finished it, I felt a little bit of like an emptiness inside.
Yeah.
The when you finish a good book, you're like, damn, okay.
Yeah. I plugged mine with DK Bonanza. That's how I got over it. So
Same game. So look, Jonny was just saying there from the sounds of things, if he were to stack them up against each other, and this isn't necessarily fair to put this in his mouth actually, as it's not what he said, but if he were to stack them up against each other, Death Stranding 2 fixes some issues with the first. Which is the better game? Because the first one's obviously got innovation on its side. It was the one that laid down what the foundation is and what this world is. Second one refines and improves it. Which one's the classic? Which one's the great game in the Death Stranding series?
I think the second one's better. I think in pretty much every conceivable way. I think maybe the storyline of the second one is a little bit messier than the first one, and maybe a tiny bit less interesting because one of the great things about the first game, or at least for me, was you are completely fresh to this world, and it's not a normal gaming world by any stretch. It's very strange. So a lot of the intrigue of the story of the first game is actually finding out, well, what has happened? What is all of this stuff? What's a BT? Like all that stuff, right? So this game doesn't do that as much. There are some revelations, but not in the same way. And the only thing I would say maybe the second game is a little bit weaker on is I felt like a lot of the story beats of this game are quite similar to the first game. Like it does some things that are, replicative of what the first game did in terms of its structure, in terms of story structure. But apart from that, the second game's just better in every metric. I think obviously visually better. I think the art direction is even better in this one because you've got more varied environments as well, and some very interesting things that can happen in the world. The gameplay variety is way, way, way beyond what the first game was doing. There are lots of like very strange but highly fun things you can do in this game, which I really didn't expect. And the mission like the delivery variety, I guess, is better as well. There are more obstacles in terms of enemies and stuff, but I wouldn't say it's like it's not as if it's like a combat heavy game, much in the same way the first game wasn't. There are more opportunities to engage in combat, and you do get much more equipment. But I didn't ever feel like it puts you down that track if you don't want to go down it, apart from like a boss battle or whatever, right? So, I just loved it. I just love the experience of that game. Just crossing through the world, and it's got a day-night cycle, and having big deliveries on, and then dawn breaks or something like that, and it just kind of illuminates the screen, and you're just like, oh man, that's and then some music kicks in, and it's the stuff that Kojima does really well, right? So it's a really special game. And it's definitely, for me at least, it's better than the first.
So I'm not surprised, but a little bit surprised. The first game gets an awful lot of credit for being so prescient and for tying in with things that Kojima wouldn't have known were going to happen in terms of COVID and disconnected societies and all the rest of it. All right, it got a lot of, whether fair or not, I don't know because I haven't played it, but a lot of recognition for being very evocative in the times that we were living in. Does the second one capture something current in the same way, or does it just feel like a game now, and is it just all familiar because you've done it in Death Stranding before?
I think it probably does capture some broader global sentiment in some ways, like some elements of it. But I think, the first game only captured those things retrospectively. At the time, people weren't living what the game was putting out effectively. And so, it just so happened that Kojima wrote a game that became in a very base level some lived experience for a lot of people. So I don't like this one. This one is different to that, but I think it. There are some, primal things I think you can relate to in this one in the same way that you could in the first.
Yeah, look, I don't know about you, but I enjoyed the camaraderie with like your companions and stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's really
I think
good.
also because you already knew them and cared about them a little bit from the first game, it hits harder when like something's going on, or you rely on one of them to get out of a bad situation and they come through for you. I really felt that was something different.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. And I think thinking about it, the thing that I really liked about this one is that it's very optimistic, in terms of like the way that Sam and the whole cast are. Like they're really, really close and positive all the time. So, and even though they've faced like, a lot of adversity, it's quite nice, to have that. It reminded me of like kind of classic, JRPGs where you have those, your party members are kind of all for one and one for all stuff. So I really, really enjoyed that. Shout out to Dollman as well, who's, just a terrific character. But yeah, it's cool. It's a cool game, man. Like it's a really, really good game.
All right. And similar, I guess, to Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is pretty much copy paste of Death Stranding 2, right there. They're similar. Jonny, I'm assuming then, if you got into Donkey Kong Bonanza, you must like Donkey Kong, you must like 3D platformers.
Actually,
Bonanza?
I think maybe I misspoke. I was saying I played Claire Obscure. I beat that, but I haven't really played Donkey Kong. I've just watched people play it.
Then I mislistened, because you agree with me that it looks shit, right? Don't agree with me. Never agree with me. It's not worth the trouble. So in that case, so look, you reckon you've finished Donkey Kong Bonanza. What does it mean to have finished it? Like you've collected everything, you've beaten the final boss, you've just decided that it's not very good actually, and you're going to play something else, or?
No, by finished, I mean I've got about 22 hours in it, and I've rolled credits. I have not gone back and collected every Bonandian gem, every fossil and stuff. I've collected a very large amount of them, but I don't think I may go back and do a bit more of that, but I won't do loads of it. Not because the game isn't enjoyable, it's just because I'm not really that type once I've rolled credits. But yeah, so yeah, 22 hours, roll credits.
So how does it stand up against your Marios and your Psychonauts and other 3D platformers?
It's a very different game to those. It's more like an action platformer, I would say, because of the nature of how you interact with the environment. But it is just as joyful, if not more so for me personally, because I think out of all the kind of mascot platformers, Donkey Kong is my favorite. So I was kind of programmed to like this, as you will. So yeah, I like it. There are just, you can tell this is made by the Odyssey team, right? Because there are so many things that are just super weird, but in that kind of Nintendo, oh, that's really fun way. And it constantly throws up like surprises, whether that's new mechanics or just a new, a new environment that you visit, or a boss battle, or something like that. And it's just, I think the thing I've found most interesting about it is because this is the thing I was worried about pre-release, was that would the gameplay being Donkey Kong smashing through the environment, picking up stuff, like would that get boring after like 5 or 6 hours? And even 20 hours in, I was like, oh man, this is still incredibly fun. And I think partly that's because of the feel of being Donkey Kong, like that never really gets old that much. But also you've the introduction of new mechanics, and then kind of new special mechanics that you get, and the change up in environments and the change up in the kind of environmental puzzles that you get. Like, it keeps it very fresh right until the end. And then the end sequence is bonkers. I won't spoil it, but it's really, really fun. So yeah, loved it. Loved it.
The way you talk about it reminds me a lot of Resident Evil 6. Jonny, do you have a Switch too?
I did pick one up, similar to like what you were saying in our podcast. Like, hey, I might want to play something on this thing at some point. So far, I've played the Switch 2 version of Tears of the Kingdom, which is very good. I had a great time doing that. But then I found that I had forgotten all the mechanics of the game, so I pretty much had to start over.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm happy with that. I haven't tested Donkey Kong. I was really happy with Mario Kart 8 and how it runs. I was really impressed with how smooth that is. So I'm excited to see more games. Were the not rumors, but the comments about poor performance in Donkey Kong, did you feel any of that, or did it roll pretty well?
It's pretty. I'd say it's pretty good, actually. It has this like for like most of the game, it runs very solidly 60 with decent to good image quality. There are bits towards the end where the stuff on screen really chugs. Like there's so many kind of particle, like old voxel stuff going around that like the Switch struggles. I wouldn't say it ruined my experience or anything like that, and it has these other frame drops that are sporadic in cutscenes or like certain transition bits of gameplay. But generally, I'd heard like not horror stories necessarily, but like you, like some comments about performance, and I'm pretty, sensitive to that stuff. But it didn't feel like it was interfering with my enjoyment of it anyway. At least to an extent that I would dock it points or something like that.
Fair. Jonny, that's enough Donkey Kong. What have you been playing?
So I recently finished Indiana Jones. I went back to finish the main game because I want to play the DLC.
What caused you to drop off it the first time?
I think I didn't quite get some of the like combat mechanics and stuff because they are a bit specific to that game. Like, you can't do a normal takedown, for example. You need to have a weapon you've picked up. So there were like some kind of clumsy things that I wasn't really getting, and I kind of bounced off. I think some other stuff dropped at the time too, and then it became harder to go back to it. But yeah, I really liked that game. It was a really fun adventure that really captured the essence, I think, of like Indiana, and Troy Baker did a great job as well with the acting there. I think even Harrison Ford said that he was happy with that, and he's not happy with anything. So, but yeah, also just to say hi, this is my cat Basil. Oh. If I can get
Full
my
screen the cat.
back.
There we go. It's a shortcut to YouTube fame, that, having a cat. So, carry on. Cat Tail is fine. So, Indiana Jones, you're playing it, loving it. You picked it up, you finished it now, you're ready for the Order of Giants DLC. Luke, you played that as well? Indiana Jones?
Yeah. I finished that a couple of weeks after it launched. Again, I really enjoyed it, except for the last fight, which I didn't enjoy. Soured me slightly on it, but other than that, really enjoyed it, and I still go back to it now, actually, occasionally, just to like see the visuals and stuff like that, because it's such a good looking game, particularly like with all the path tracing stuff on, and also to see the HDR, which is like industry leading. It's really good, really, really good. And I'm looking forward to playing the DLC.
Yeah, just to see the RTX hair that they're advertising.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
For those that don't know, RTX hair. There's not really much of an explanation I can give you for that. They're doing that. It's highly demanding hair rendering technology that's going to make the game 800 times better. Because it's great having hair.
I wouldn't know.
Sorry for the awkward pause.
For it. Yeah, all good.
Yeah, what else have you been up to?
Me?
Yeah.
So I've been playing some League as well, and been playing some Space Marine 2 with, I don't know if, have you guys played that?
Yes, done that.
Yeah.
Co-op through the campaign, but nothing outside the campaign. Have you ventured beyond the campaign into its little missions or PvP or?
Yeah, I've done a lot of the, not PvP, but the PvE stuff. I absolutely love it. It's been super fun. And they've been adding a bunch of content. They just released a roadmap for year 2, starting now. There's going to be like a whole new class, new maps, cosmetic stuff. So there's a bunch. Yeah.
Tell me, like, structurally, I know that it's got these little operation things, these extra, aside from the campaign, co-op missions, but I don't know anything about them structurally, how the game works, if it's got any kind of progression there, or what a mission looks like, that kind of thing. What is it?
Yeah, so the PvE works with, similar to if you've played something like Darktide or Vermintide 2, it's a similar structure where you boot up a mission, right? You go out there, it's up to 3 people, this one. You got your different classes. Each class has a skill progression where you can basically choose skills as you level up, and you're always going to have 3 skills to choose between. And as you level up, basically you get more options. But what's going to happen is you have to choose, so you're not getting all the skills, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's say you unlocked a new skill that's now in a column, and you can pick 1 out of 3 from that column. So you can tailor what your build is what I'm trying to say with that. And then they added a couple of new difficulty modes that are pretty insane. So what they've done to enable you in those is you have a prestige system. Once you hit max cap, you can go back to level 1, and then you get access to a prestige perk, which are really strong perks you can pick from. And now you get to level all the way back to max at level 25, and then you get your second prestige point at that point. I think you can get 3 total, so you can get really, really strong by doing that. And it's a lot also about customizability. A tough word right there. Like putting together your suits with the decals you like, the colors. Some people get really nerdy with that. They know all the factions. I don't, by the way. But it is something fun you can get into as well. But I enjoyed that aspect of it. And the gameplay is just really damn good, man. Like the melee, the parrying stuff is really addictive, the way it works. So I found it actually after the campaign is when I got hooked, because I enjoyed the campaign. It was a fun ride, but I didn't really get in touch with the mechanics for like parrying and everything until I actually played the PvE maps with friends and stuff, and learning the different classes. It was really, really fun.
Are the PvE maps, are they like retreads of the places that you go in the campaign, or is it fresh content? Like, what do they do there?
So what's really cool is that at times during the campaign, you hear from a second squad that's doing another job to support you. You play as those guys. So you're like the B squad, I guess, in a lot of those. So some of the scenery is shared, but they're completely new missions. It's just that you will see like some shared areas that will be familiar from the campaign. But they're completely like original.
Luke, do you want to play some Space Marine with me?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Play some Space Marine. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. We can all do some Space Marine. I'll be up for that. I've got it installed.
Into that.
You're very welcome in as well. Yeah, let's do that for sure. Johnny, do you do Warhammer aside from Space Marine games?
No, nothing at all. I've been getting a bit into the audiobooks, so I've listened to a couple to get a bit of the lore. But yeah, this is like super vanilla, right? Compared to people who, they got the, the
that's a risk. audiobooks of all the places to start. You're going to get pulled under. It's going to be years of your life gone to Warhammer.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to listen to them because there are so many terms that are really specific to Warhammer that I have no idea. Like some of them, like las gun, these are things you learn by playing the games. But then there's so many things that you listen to and you go, what the hell is that? And now, I'm off into a rabbit hole Googling Warhammer stuff and, learning about some background. But yeah, it's fun.
What about you, Luke? You've done the Space Marine 2 campaign, probably the first one as well. But do you like Warhammer besides that?
No, I mean, I like it, for the world and the art style and stuff. But I don't play like 40k or anything like that. No. So, yeah, my main experience generally is just being with the Space Marine games, so the first one and this one, and Bolt Gun as well. I played a lot of, which I really enjoyed, and some of the Total War games, which I played a bit as well. But yeah, I wouldn't consider myself like a Warhammer fan. I'm just kind of incidentally into the Warhammer games.
I'm kind of scared of it. Like it's an appealing aesthetic, and I reckon if I were to get into Warhammer, if I were to scratch the surface and touch those audiobooks that you're listening to, that's a high risk maneuver. I don't have time to get stuck into a new IP that's as broad and deep as that one already is, as storied and long running. No, can't be doing that. So, but absolutely, we'll play some Space Marine. That's awesome. Let's talk about. I don't know. Should we talk about some of the topics for the week?
Yeah.
Let's start then with a nice lightweight one, because you mentioned that you were into a little bit of Mario Kart, and you both played some of that. You both got your Switch 2s and all the rest of it. But this weekend was the open network test for Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Have either of you had a dabble with Sonic Racing Crossworlds?
Nope.
No.
Is it generally appealing? Are you thinking that it might be one that you consider at launch? Or is it just no time, no space for a kart game right now?
Yeah, probably not for me.
Yeah, harsh but fair. Well, not even that harsh. It's just fair, right? What about you, Jonny?
It looks good. Like it looks
like
it's not that it doesn't look good. I genuinely think it looks quite good. I've got Mario Kart World. I might get Kirby Air Riders. I don't really have time or the inclination to play another.
Do you like Kirby more than you like Sonic?
Yeah. Yeah, way more.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it about Kirby? Walk me through that.
He's not ass.
He's mostly 90% is ass, I think.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Like I just like Kirby. He's just a big pink ball. It's just fun. Like, and I actually like really enjoy the Kirby games generally. I've never I was always as a kid, it's the age old, were you a Sonic or Mario kid or like a Nintendo kid, let's say, and I was a Nintendo kid. I wasn't really that into Sonic. So yeah, I've never really been that into Sonic.
That's fair enough. But okay, so you do like kart games there. You got Mario Kart World, but Sonic, I mean, it's a difficult sell all round, because why Sega are trying to charge $65-$70 for it is beyond me, especially when they've got such a heavy monetization plan beyond launch. But it is what it is. It's what's happening. I can't necessarily see it doing really well, but Sonic is a kind of straddling the line between pop culture and nostalgia. There's a modern audience and a historic one, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's going to do really well at that price. But Jonny, what's your thinking on it?
Yeah, I think it looks good. I kind of feel like I'm just not in the market for it. Sometimes I feel like I'm so out of touch because I see these games selling so well, but they don't really speak to me. Even Mario Kart, I basically just got it because it came in the bundle, right? So sometimes I feel like there's this whole cohort of people who love these games, and for them it's gonna be, amazing, right? They're waiting for this. This is their game for them, and I think it's a big group of people. I've never really been that excited about racing game in general. Some I've really enjoyed, like Forza, it's been great. Gran Turismo in the past, love those. But And some of these kart ones have been great. I even played an older one called Blur. I don't know if any of you guys knew that, but it was a little bit of a hidden gem of a game as well. So I've enjoyed those, but like right now, I don't really feel the pull.
So we did. We played a little bit of the Sonic one yesterday. We were doing our community games. We played some Helldivers, but then we moved on to Sonic. And in the open network test, there's a reasonable amount of content considering it's just a test and a small download. But it's got this Grand Prix mode that it makes you play through, like it's single player mode that it makes you play through before you're allowed to play online, despite the purpose of it being an open network test, which is weird. And the structure of it, you do a lap on a track, and then it puts you through. Whoever's in first place is going to drive through one of two portals to determine where you go for the second lap of the race, and that's the Crossworlds part. So it does it's like Ratchet and Clank style. You go through a portal and you're in a different world, and the race seamlessly transitions somewhere else. And some of the places were quite cool, and some of them less so. But you do a little lap in there, and then it pops you back onto the original track, and you get through to the conclusion of it. And that's all nice and pleasant, and everyone has a nice time. And the Grand Prix makes you go onto a second and a third track, but then it gives you this finale where it makes you do the 3 tracks again. And it's like, what? I don't want to do that. Shut up, Sonic. So it's got some weird structural choices in that sense. The racing on it feels very kind of generic these days, because every kart game, apart from the Kirby one that you were talking about, Luke, every kart game has the same mechanics, like the same set of weapons, the same way that you drift to build up your boost and all the rest of it. And it's become overly familiar, which I'm sure will work for people that are using it as a party game and just want to move from one to the other and pick up and play. But after playing Mario Kart World, that does try to introduce quite a bit mechanically with its grinding and its jumping and its open world and all the rest of it, this one feels very yesteryear, despite the portal mechanic and all the rest of it. It's safe, but that's not safe, if that makes sense. Like when you've got your main rival is trying to innovate and you're trying to stay safe, then it's no longer safe. It's kind of boring by comparison. It doesn't hold up well in that sense. And I'm not saying this is a massive Mario Kart fan or anything, because I'm not necessarily. It's just I wasn't particularly enamored when I was playing it for the first time. And if I wanted safe, I would probably go back and play the Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed, which was actually a really good kart game that really hit nostalgia for me with its like Golden Axe tracks and stuff like that, and old Sega classic music playing and all the rest of it. This one doesn't in the same way, and I look at it and I'm a little bit on the fence, and then they ask me for 65 quid for it, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I can. But there's another couple of days of network test, and you can play it entirely in VR if you want to play around with the Unreal Engine VR kit, which might be completely transformative and might change my mind entirely. So there's hope for it yet. And anyway, that's enough Sonic, because neither of you have played it. So let's talk about the next one. Let's talk about it is the week where Xbox go to PlayStation, PlayStation go to Xbox. Notably, obviously Xbox have been pushing things to PlayStation for a long time, but Gears of War is quite a significant IP in the history of Xbox and the makeup of them as a brand. So Gears of War has gone to PlayStation. Let's start with Gears of War Reloaded, and then we'll move on to Helldivers afterwards, which is significant. At least, well, maybe equally significant, maybe more so, maybe less so, it doesn't really matter. Either way, it's quite significant as a release. But Gears of War Reloaded, start off with it as a game rather than as a strategic move. Jonny, Gears of War, fan of the series, favourite Gears of War, what are you thinking of Reloaded?
So I didn't play the very early ones. I started with 3, but I thought 5 was an amazing looking game. One of like the best looking games at the time. Even in consoles, it looked incredible, like some black magic running that. So I like that. It was a fun story that it was a bit forgettable, but yet enjoyable at the time, if that makes sense. So it's not like something that stuck with me, but I remember enjoying the moment to moment a lot in the game. So I'm down for more Gears.
So you've never played Gears of War 1 at this point in time?
No.
You've not gone back to it, not revisited the Ultimate Edition or anything like that? Oh.
I think I played a bit of it in co-op with a friend, but one of those things where, you know, there's excitement the first day and then your friend like is never available again.
It's the best one.
Really?
I would say so. I've always said so, and I maintain that. So that it's different. The Gears of War series over time really ramped up on spectacle and chased the cinematic side of things. But the first one was just a different feel. It was much more tense. It was much more tactical. Like the whole gameplay mechanic. Gears of War kind of popularized stop and pop as a mechanic. Like the concept of roadie run behind cover, stop and pop, shoot everything. But in the later Gears of War games, it is stop and pop. Like you go to cover and you pop up and you shoot everything that's there in a shooting range, and then you move on to the next area and you stop and pop. In the first Gears of War game, the guns were so inaccurate that actually it really encouraged you to flank your opponents much more seriously. They would try and outflank you, you would try and outflank them, and it was just a different feel to the tension and the movement that made it, in my opinion, the best of the series. More of a horror emphasis, more of a tight, claustrophobic, heavy feel to it. The other ones, you mentioned Gears of War 5, it's freaking spectacular, and it's a really interesting case study in the way that they introduce colour to the series over time. But generally, like visual spectacle, gameplay spectacle, story, you can take it or leave it, but it's there and it does what it does. But yeah, you should go and play that first one now that it's there and polished up. Luke, am I wrong?
No, it's a rare occasion. I don't think you're wrong, actually. I think you might be right on this one. I really love Gears 2. Really, really enjoy Gears 2. But there is something about Gears 1, just in terms of atmosphere in particular, that I think no other Gears game has captured. I think part of it was probably the horror element. It was meant to be, the locusts were meant to be kind of scary and weird, and all the swarm stuff. And like the nighttime missions in that were really, really cool. So yeah, I think the first one is the best one. I really liked all of them, to be fair, but by the time I finished 5, I was getting very Gears fatigued. Hive Busters actually brought it back a lot for me because I really enjoyed that. But yeah, it's why actually I'm really excited for E-Day, because it's, they're going back to, first of all, the time period of 1 just before it, but they're clearly leaning back into that kind of atmosphere that 1 had, and they've said that that's a big influence for E-Day as well. So yeah.
You're getting me excited to check out the Reloaded version.
And co-op, like the entirety of it. This is the other signature Gears feature is co-op, and the entirety of the campaign is made for co-op and best played in co-op. So even though it's a horror game, and you might think that's counterintuitive, horror's like, it's not horror, right? It's just a bit tense and a bit dark, and if you go in the dark, you're going to get ripped to pieces. So, play it, get on the co-op, do that campaign, go through it, because I reckon you'll have a good time with that, based on what you said about your taste so far, and based on what I've said about my taste and my insistence that everybody agrees with me. So, yeah, you're going to have a lovely time playing Gears of War. Luke, this is kind of old tired ground, but we're going to it anyway. It is an Xbox game. It is Gears of War. Gears of War 1, the first one, was spotted in the wild many years ago running on a PlayStation 3. So it's not the first time that the development work has taken place. It was at one point intended to go onto that line of consoles, but it was Epic owned at the time, and Microsoft money hatted it in the way that these console platforms used to go at each other. Money hatted it and eventually obviously bought the IP entirely, own it, come full circle, and are now putting it on PlayStation for the first time. Is that meaningful? Is there I don't even know what to ask about that, because the console war stuff bores me entirely, but I don't know, what do you think? Is it the right move? Should they be holding Gears back? Should E-Day go day 1 to PlayStation?
That's a loaded question, isn't it?
No.
I think at this point, doesn't it just make sense for them to put all of their big franchises everywhere? I don't see that the directionality has been there for a while, and this is just another part of it, right? So, it is strange, like having grown up with Gears, and having that be an exclusive Xbox game. It is strange seeing it on other platforms, but not strange in a I can't accept this kind of way. Just strange in a that's novel, isn't it? That's a weird thing to see. So I mean, they probably should bring E-Day to PlayStation day 1, because I imagine Reloaded's going to do really well on PlayStation, and if it does really well, that means there's an appetite for Gears games. And so why not bring E-Day, which, you know, in of itself will be a spectacular looking game, you know, that will turn eyeballs just because of the Coalition, it's UE5, they're the masters of it, right? So and also obviously it's a prequel to Reloaded effectively, so it surely makes sense for them to bring it over.
And with all that in mind, and looking at like the fairly safe assumption that pretty much everything goes over everywhere all at once, do you think in future you're going to buy any Xbox hardware?
The only one I would buy would be a dedicated Microsoft made handheld. That's the only thing I would buy. I won't be buying any more consoles from them. Just because for me, like there's no need. Like I've got a rig in my living room. I can play all the Xbox games there. I don't have a big need for backwards compatibility. So yeah, just if they were to make their own handheld, then I'd be very likely to buy that. But in terms of home console stuff, no.
And do you think then, just on that handheld thing then, because obviously they've got the LIX coming out and all that kind of stuff, does that appeal to you less than an Xbox made handheld? Like you want them to do one themselves?
I'd prefer if they did one themselves. Yeah. The LIX does interest me a lot, but there are certain hardware things about that I don't like, mainly the screen. So, and I don't have a Windows-based handheld, and I would like one, so I will kind of keep my powder dry on that one and see what other ones come out around the same time, and maybe have a look. But yeah, it like if this was a Microsoft-made one and it had a different feature set, and it was coming out in October, like the ROG LIX is, then I'd be very interested. I would pick that up for sure, unless it was a disaster.
In chat there, I'm not sure how you say that, Guntal Stone, GNTL Stone. Why haven't you played Gears of War before? Is this because of the platform restrictions? Is this the fact that it's on PlayStation now opening it up to you in a way that it hadn't been available before? I'm assuming that's the answer. I'm just curious to be sure. Jonny, what about you? So Microsoft bring everything everywhere. Do you have an Xbox Series console?
No, I had an Xbox One, but I ended up never using it. So I learned my lesson there. Similar to Luke, I play everything on PC that I can. And PS5 sometimes is nice when there is a game for me to kick back in the couch and that type of stuff. But I just don't really have a need for another console. And honestly, I don't use my PS5 that much, right? It's been Death Stranding. This year, that might be it. That might be the only game I played on it.
Fair enough. And it's like, for me, there's very little advantage to me as a consumer to Microsoft keeping anything on their console only, because typically when you look at the advantages of exclusives, you talk about tailoring things to a piece of hardware and all the rest of it, but that's never going to be Microsoft ever again anyway, because what they do on the PC space. So then bringing things to other consoles as well is neither here nor there as far as I'm concerned, so I'm quite happy for them to do it. Have no strong feelings, like it's just what's happening, right?
I think there is a bit of a disconnect, isn't there, between the business strategy from Sony, which is much more around selling consoles. So for them, it does matter. I expect them to keep, for example, the 1 year exclusivity we see, a 1-2 year. I think that's probably going to be the way they go. I'm not seeing like a day one big Sony exclusive dropping on Xbox, right? I really wouldn't expect that. I think they are still much more hesitant to go that way, but even they see the value in the multi-platform such that they're opening it up. Pretty much every game is now expected to come out on PC or Xbox eventually.
And that so it's a topic I generally try and avoid covering because it really is like overtrodden and overworn, and I don't I particularly care about the publishing strategies of these platform holders and all the rest of it. But this week is slightly different in that it is the first time that PlayStation have directly published something on Xbox, right? So they've had... Their developers have worked to put games on Xbox. We've had stuff like MLB The Show that has come across via a third-party publisher. You've had stuff like Death Stranding came across from a third-party publisher. But now you've got PlayStation directly publishing on Xbox. And that is, as far as I'm aware, I could be wrong because I don't overly watch publisher comings and goings. But I think this is the first one. Helldivers 2 has come to Xbox. It's had an interesting effect on Helldivers 2 because it's made it part of a conversation. So I think regardless of whether it's sold well on Xbox or not, which I'm not going to speculate on, I'm not going to guess the numbers, but regardless of whether it's done that or not, it's made it relevant in conversation and it's inflated the numbers at the very least on the platforms that it was already on, even if you don't take into account what it's done on the Xbox. And obviously it's done more than nothing on the Xbox because I've been playing it with people on the Xbox that have been enjoying it. So what do you think for Helldivers 2? Let's do the same thing again. I'd rather talk about the game rather than the corporate strategy, first of all. So Helldivers 2, are you a fan?
Yeah, I haven't gone back to it. I played when it came out quite a bit with friends, and then really never came back to it. It was a little bit overwhelming to come back because a lot of stuff had come out, and I just didn't know, what stratagems were the good ones and stuff. So I would like to come back to it, and I think it's really positive to see.
I can tell you the answer. The stratagems, always as many landmines as you can. Your teammates will love you. My teammates love me.
You killed all your teammates?
No, I don't necessarily kill them. They kill themselves. I just place the landmines. They step into them.
Is that... Oh, okay. I see how it is. So like in the trolley problem, if you pulled the lever, that wasn't you.
It definitely wasn't. I just placed the mines. They're, inanimate until people step on them.
Sure. Yeah.
Luke, are you a Helldivers fan? I've not played it with you, I don't think.
No, we played it.
Did we?
For a bit. Yeah, we did. And yeah, I mean, it's I put like a solid 30 to 40 hours in it when it came out. I really enjoyed it. I'm just not one that will keep going on service games. Do you know what I mean? Like I'll occasionally, and I have occasionally returned back to it. But it's a really fun game, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I really liked the first one as well. So it's kind of preconditioned to like that one, even though it changed perspective. Yeah, it's a good game.
So, what you were saying there about it being a live service, I actually really like its approach to live service because comparative to other live service games, you've got your Fortnites and anything else that comes out, they have this insatiable need for you to be logged on and playing. And everything about them is tailored to keep you logged on and playing this game. And they'll have their daily login rewards that make me sick in my mouth every time I open it up. And it's like, oh, you logged in for the 4th day in a row. Right. I'm absolutely not playing this game. I hate that you're trying to manipulate me in this way. But Helldivers 2 doesn't really do that. It's quite relaxed. It's a live service game that is there, and you can take months away from it and just go back into it when you feel like it. So for me, it's really nice to see that kind of relaxed strategy to live service is workable, and the game continues to do well for it, and I can go back to it every 3 or 4 months, have a blast for a couple of hours, put it down, and not worry about my daily login rewards, and not worry about my daily quests, and not worry about whether I play it tomorrow, and not worry about whether I'm going to grind through the battle pass in time. Just play it when I feel like it. I love that about it. So really happy to see that succeed as a live service without it being a bastard of a game. So yeah, that's another one that we can get on and play. But if you're Sony right now, I mean, what are you thinking? This game, make some assumptions. I don't know, just pretend it's like a massive success on Xbox. It doubles the success of the game overnight. Does that influence your thinking going forwards with your releases? Does it? I don't know. It's a nothing question. Luke, help me out.
I think it does with some games. I think I think they're service games, like Helldivers. I mean, they've not got many of them, but they will have more in the future. I think it probably I don't know. I'm quite conflicted about this from a Sony perspective because I think so much is unknown about, but to some extent, about what the next generation for Xbox looks like. You know, if the next generation Xbox can just play PC SKUs of games, you know, by default, any Sony game that comes to PC anyway will be available on Steam or whatever. So it's interesting that Sony have, you know, released Helldivers now for the Xbox, you know, specifically made an Xbox version and published there. I guess it makes total sense because the platform is, you know, the kind of clientele of the platform's very predisposed to games like Helldivers. So, and I'm sure it will be a big success on Xbox in terms of sales. I don't think it really shifts the gears too much for Sony on their other stuff, and I don't see them adopting like the Microsoft approach, let's call it, anytime soon. But certainly service games, I don't see why they wouldn't bring them to another platform if there's a dedicated platform to bring them to that has a good, you know, amount of people playing on it, because it just means that those games are more successful in a world where it's very difficult to make successful service games anyway, right? So like it's not a given that you can do that. So it will kind of truncate the chance of failure of those games. It might not save these games from failure, but you'll give them more of a chance. Their other stuff, they have to walk a very fine line because, you know, they do have a portion of their audience, not all of it, but a significant portion that buy a lot of games that, you know, I don't think they want to isolate those people away from buying PlayStations in the future or moving or anything like that. So I'm not convinced that they would put their big tentpole single-player games there. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think much depends on what the directionality is next gen for Xbox. You know, they'll end up, the PlayStation games will end up there anyway. Ultimately, if the next gen Xboxes can just PCs, right? So,
I think another thing there is that you join the pools of players, so it's also a way to get more people playing the game, right? So especially for live service games, I could see them going just open for everything. I think wasn't Concord, it was on PC too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At the very least.
Yeah.
Rip Concord.
But
but I think they kind of already had that idea there, which was, hey, let's open it up, you know, as many players as we can get, and that's more important than the exclusivity.
Okay, fair enough. And it's also, like I say, the delay of it though has kind of, it's not always going to work in their favor, but on this occasion with Helldivers, it has done a fantastic job of kind of propelling it into conversation again. So I guess that works in favor of that particular approach. But there's only so many times you can pull that as a trick, I guess. What I don't know. I'm suddenly lost. I can't report someone.
I wanted to ask you a follow-up there, because you talked about Helldivers and the live service aspect of it. One thing that was interesting when I played was the war bonds. For people who don't know, this is the stuff you can unlock in-game, and some of it is paid, right? I don't know if all of it, but
some of it, yeah. You get premium war bonds, yeah.
Yeah, like a battle pass or something. How do you find the monetization in the game in general? Like, is it rewarding for you to jump in and put some money in there? Or no?
Yeah. So I want to be careful what I say here because I don't want to tell them. I was just talking about how happy I am that the strategy of it is not too malicious, in that it's not too demanding a game. It's very relaxed and I don't feel pressured to play it more than I want to. I also don't spend any money on the war bonds. And that is not something that I want them to address. I don't want them to go, let's fix this and start putting daily login rewards and see if we can do more to get people spending more on war bonds and things. I was tempted yesterday by the Halo ODST war bond that is in there. There's a premium war bond with some extra Halo weapons and things like that. But I decided, no, that's not for me. Because I don't typically like to buy cosmetics and weapons and things if I can help it. The game, it's a weird one because it's not strictly cosmetic, right? So in theory, you could take issue with that Some people look at battle passes and things and they say, oh, if it's just hats, I don't mind because it's not really impacting the gameplay and all the rest of it. Helldivers very specifically does impact the gameplay because you get weapons within these premium war bonds. So actually you could consider it if you wanted to. You could consider it a pay-to-win game and you could get up in arms about that. And I would not object to your position if you were angry about that. If you said, I hate pay-to-win and I refuse to buy any of these, I refuse to play Helldivers because people are buying better guns than I've got. Fair dues, that'll be a reasonable stance to take. For me, because I play the game so lightly, because it's not demanding, because I'm literally jumping in with friends, shooting some bugs, dropping some minefields, moving on with my life, I've not really had that kind of feeling of in the way that I would get in a lot of games.
I don't know about you, I unlocked a bunch of weapons in the war bonds without paying. You know, I think at least when I played, there was a free war bond section, and then you had the paid for one. And you had some exclusive weapons in there, but I always felt like you had some really good options in the free ones. I never felt like I can tell that guy bought the pack, you know, and he's just doing way better.
I saw in passing, and don't quote me on this because I literally just saw it on social media, but I saw that the shotgun that you can get in the Halo ODST pack does 650 damage, and the closest equivalent shotgun you can get without a premium pack is 450. So like a marked notable increase in performance if you pay for the premium war bond. And it didn't bother me just because of the nature of the game. But like I say, if people do take issue with that, I absolutely understand that position because historically I would hate the idea of anything being like pay for power, co-op or otherwise, is kind of disgusting. For some reason, because it's not in my face, I don't know, it's just passed me by and I've not had that feeling of anger. Luke, what do you reckon on the war bonds and the typical pay-to-win strategies or otherwise that we see in live service games? What's a fair monetization strategy?
I actually think the way that Helldivers does it is pretty good. It's my preferred way of doing it, which is the
pay-to-win.
Pay to win. Which is
he's a lawyer, he's got loads of money.
Which is that actually in Helldivers, I think it's always very interesting because the weapons that they put in the premium war bonds, first of all, I don't have an issue with it because it's PvE. So I don't think, even if you could pay for power, let's say, you can never get so powerful that you're, obliterating so many enemies that nobody else is having fun. The game doesn't work like that. And secondly, they always tend to balance their weapons in the premium war bonds really well. So even though a weapon might be much more powerful, it might have or considerably more powerful than something that's not in a war bond, it might have like a much slower rate of fire or less bullets, or something like that, or a bigger spread. So they always it always comes out in the wash with them. So I have bought a couple of Helldivers war bonds, and I do like them because you get the weapons, but I really enjoy like the cosmetic stuff that you get in them. And also they do that thing that a lot of premium games don't do, which really, really angers me, which is that if you buy one, it doesn't expire. So I can come back now and I can progress through a war bond that was there a year ago, and do it on my own time. And I hate absolutely of all the things that like live service games do, the most egregious thing that some of them do is where you buy a battle pass and it expires after a certain amount of time. Like, I've bought the content. You can't, why am I being put on a timer to unlock the content I've bought? It should just be available. Infinite was another game that did this really well, right? Where you buy a battle pass and you've got it forever and you can progress it in however you want. Whereas, Call of Duty, it's up for 3 months. If you've not unlocked everything in 3 months, tough luck. There it goes forever. You don't get a chance to go back to it. So I find that incredibly offensive to my sensibilities, like a person or like a consumer of games. I think it's the worst practice of any of live service games generally. So the Helldivers ones I really like because they're good. They're not that expensive. You've got as much time as you want to unlock through them, and I like them.
Yeah, you touched on the way that battle passes work and dark patterns in general throughout monetized games that are really kind of conspicuous. Like, oh, I've paid $9.99. I'm now committed to playing this for the next 100 days, whether I want to or not, to get the best out of my own spend. It's a weird contract to make. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I think Infinite, as far as I'm aware, was the first one that did the kind of battle pass structure, but without the cut-off to insist that you keep on coming back. So that was a positive. Glad that Helldivers adopted that side of it. It's a weird one because I hate microtransactions in general, right? Most people broadly will go along with that and say I hate microtransactions in general, but I also acknowledge that if a game is going to have continued development, it needs to have continued monetization as well, and that's not necessarily unfair and evil. So when you get an example of a publisher that is doing it in a way that is not egregious and is not manipulative and is not trying to trap you in their game, I can support that. Maybe I will go and buy the ODST hats. No, I'm not going to buy the ODST hats.
Especially if you put enough time in the game, that generates a certain amount of goodwill where you want to give back, perhaps, you know, and get something cool in return. So that transaction feels really good. If you've put a lot of time in the game and it feels like, hey, I'm giving back a little bit. I'm also getting some cool stuff, maybe some skins or whatever. That's how, Dota 2 does it. League does it. Now they've started sliding into gacha mechanics. We can touch on that, but
we will.
You still have the option, right? To say, hey, I want to buy, $10, buy this skin. I enjoy the game. I spend time here. I want to give back and feel like I'm also getting something cool that I can show off.
Let's pivot into League of Legends and get back to stuff that you do. I tried League of Legends and I couldn't get along with it, partly because it's click to move and I'm not a fan of click to move, and partly because it's like just the level of play is quite advanced at this point, and I don't even understand the terms that people are using, let alone how to get into it. It's very mechanically, yes. But you play it. You've played it for quite a long time now. You do YouTube content on it. You stream it on Twitch. Are you any good at it?
I've become decent. So the way to explain where I'm at in my journey is I started like bottom of the barrel, right? And I'm at gold rank, which is something like 60 percentile. 60%. Is that correct saying? So like 60% of people are in gold or below.
Right.
So I've made some progress. It's at a point where the average chatter is now below my rank, statistically speaking. So it's I will say it's respectable now. How about that? Yeah.
I'm well below your rank. I couldn't get into it at all. But so do you play it? Do you jump into queues solo and play with the kind of hostile masses, or do you play it with people?
So I do play ranked like solo, or like hard focusing on self-improvement. Sometimes I also play with viewers, and for videos and stuff more like educational, focusing more on the content. But I mute all. So when I enter a game, especially ranked, by the way, the first thing I do is I mute everybody. I allow their pings so I can see what they're pinging, which is for me the best way to communicate in game because it's instant and you can see it. But the chat is utterly useless. It will distract you. It'll take your energy. It might bait you into toxic exchanges and stuff. Basically, 90% of it will either be about your mom or something you did wrong in the game that's not constructive. You might find one thing that was useful, but I just recommend people don't play with chat. And what's beautiful about that is that my experience is entirely pristine. Like my experience in the game is not one of toxicity. In fact, I assume the best nature in people because I can see the stuff they type, right? Can we curse in the podcast or no? I don't see the shit they type. So I'm happily going through it. And my mindset is we're all just having a crack, right? And if someone makes a mistake, I just think, you know what? They tried, they fucked up, so good, we're moving on. Instead of seeing you suck, your mom, whatever. So I just don't have that whole side of it. And for me, it's all purely around self-improvement and noticing how I'm able to improve over time in these skills. So yeah, it's been a really satisfying journey and one of the hardest games really that you can get into. It's very, very
Why did you do
challenging.
it?
So I did play Dota 2 in the past, and I liked that. So there's something about the MOBA framework that I really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that this one, it's a lot about your individual performance more than Dota 2 was, in my opinion. So you can play in this way that I'm describing, which is it's all about your decisions, your performance. And it's much easier for you to make progress and notice your progress and everything like that. So it got really addictive, that loop of learning and progressing. And the moment to moment is fun. There's something about the clicking, you know. It's like a dance when you're in lane against someone and you're like, you're taking the last hits, getting the gold, you're harassing them and finding the windows and openings. It's very like chess a little bit because you're playing in turns, so you do this thing. Now it's the other person's turn to make a move in a sense. So it's very tactical. It's really
Mm-hmm.
satisfying. Yeah.
I never played it enough to get to the point that it felt like chess. But
okay, that's very relatable too. Yeah.
I can appreciate that though. But tying it back to what we're talking about on live service, how much money have you spent on League of Legends?
I think I've spent through the course of 2-3 years, probably around $200, £200.
On like what kind of stuff? I don't know League of Legends well. I know you used to buy heroes. I don't know if you still can. Cosmetics.
So you don't have to buy them, but so you can buy them with in-game currency, is what I'm trying to say. You can also get all of them with Game Pass if you have them. You get access to all of them. What you can buy if you want is skins for the champion you like, champion you play. You can get chromas, which are different colors for those skins. And I think that's about it. You can buy other stuff like emotes and things like that. But the biggest thing is skins. So it's all cosmetic, really.
And did you bought that stuff because you appreciate that you spent a lot of time in the game? Or because I don't know, how did it get you to spend money on it?
I don't know how to say this. I don't like having the default skin.
So you don't want to know what people are saying about you, but you want them to respect your skin. You want them to know.
Right. Yeah. No, I like looking cool in the game, and I like feeling like I had a choice over how I look too. So that's cool to me. So maybe there's a cyberpunk skin I like or something. I enjoy having the variety because in League, one big thing is champion mastery, which means you're going to stick to like 1 or 2 champions in your journey, at least early on. And you're going to play mostly those champions. Now, that's going to be hundreds of games on like 1 or 2 champions. When you think about it, it's pretty rare. Most games have you switching, you're just switching all around and trying different champions, right? All the time. So this like commitment is kind of rare. And it's the best way for you to progress in the game. So the skins help because now you have all these visual options where you can say, okay, I'm gonna go like, bunny suit in this one, just have a laugh, or switch it up. So that really helps in the commitment of sticking with just
so you're telling
1 or
me
2 champions.
You bought a bunny suit?
I could listen. Okay. In game, this is all in game. I have at least 5 different bunny suit skins. Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Fair. Luke, have you played League or other MOBAs at all?
I played a bit of League and a bit of Dota, and a bit is where it will stay.
Because you couldn't afford the bunny suit at that point in time.
Yeah, I couldn't. Maybe if I went back to it now, I'd be well into it, buying all the bunny suits. But yeah, I'm not a MOBA person. I just can't get into them.
It's weird because it's the genre that I like. No, there's a couple of genres actually, survival being the other one, but it's the genre that I think I would love if I can get one that clicks for me, and I just haven't got one that's clicked for me yet. Heroes of the Storm was the closest because it was just a little bit lighter in its mechanics, a little bit more accessible, so it was nearly there, but it kind of went away.
Speaking of accessibility, they're adding the ability to play with WASD, WASD. So now you can move your character with WASD.
And aim with them, yeah.
So you would still click on top of the enemy like when you want to attack them or something, but all the movement can now be done with the keys. So that might be in fact they are doing it for that reason, to be more friendly for new players who aren't used to the clicking. Because let's be honest, if you didn't play a ton of like RTS games, it's pretty alien for you to have to click around, literally like spamming it, right? If you
especially when it gets noisy, it's quite easy to just completely lose the cursor.
Yeah, where am I? Where's my cursor? Yeah.
Luke, have you? Okay, so MOBA's not your thing. Have you kind of spent money on a free-to-play game in general?
Not from my recollection. No.
But that's not on principle. Maybe, it's just you've not been called to.
Technically, Infinite, I have actually, because the multiplayer is free to play there, right? So, yeah. So just that one. I think from memory, just that one.
Okay, fair enough. Cool. I'm lost again. Sorry, I keep forgetting what's going on.
What about? I'll put you on the line too.
Well,
you spend money or no?
I'm a slightly strange case in that I was very principled anti microtransactions for a long time. Horse Armor made me throw up, and I was angry ever since. I was quite happy to play subscription-based MMOs, right? Years before monetization was kind of like before live service was really a term, but there were these few games that you would subscribe to and pay a monthly price for. I was happy to do that. But the piecemeal approach to buying content has never done it for me, and I particularly hate consumables. I hate any game that tries to sell me like 50% bonus experience for an hour in the form of like a potion or an item or whatever it may be, like these infinite pits of throw your money in here for faster progression. That turns me straight away. But I'll buy a fancy hat or a bunny suit, absolutely.
There you go.
I've warmed to the bunny suits. Over the duration of this podcast, I'm going to go do some research and buy some right after this. I can't think of any good examples of games where I've been spending recently, but I am susceptible to buying a costume. Replicants just mentioned World of Warcraft there and the tokens that they sell. I despise the monetization in World of Warcraft. It upsets me so much because it does everything all at once. It's that old school subscription that I'm a willing adopter of an old school subscription. I'll pay monthly for a service game that delivers content. I've done that since, I don't know, like 20 odd years ago. I'm happy for it. But you can't then put a cash shop into it, and you can't then sell me level up tokens, and you can't then sell me name changes, and you can't then sell me this and that and the other. And World of Warcraft sells absolutely everything all at once. Every now and again, I'm like, oh, I feel like playing World of Warcraft, and I'll get an email from Blizzard that says, there's a sale on the Blizzard store. Come check out World of Warcraft. And I'll open the store, and it'll say, buy this mount with some gold for 70 quid. I'm so sad now. I'm not doing that. It's a subscription game, you fucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I have some kind of principle to whether I'm willing to spend or not. It does need for me to not feel like I'm instantly repelled when a game feels manipulative in the way that it's doing it. Like I said, the daily login requests earlier.
Oh, that is super manipulative. I remember when I was playing Final Fantasy 14 for quite a while, got like 300 hours in there. I felt anxiety because I knew like if I miss a day, now I think you had to start your, you basically start earning from the beginning, right? You kind of accumulated a streak, of days, like a streak, yeah. So I think I had that. I remember feeling anxiety, like I have to go in just to. But overall, I thought that game did pretty well with the subscription. I was happy to pay. I was happy what I got for what I paid, and it felt like it gave you plenty for the money too. I wasn't feeling like they're shoving a lot of shop stuff on your face.
Yeah. like the principle of it matters to me, and I'm instantly turned away as soon as I feel like it's those.
Yeah.
I like the term dark patterns. I heard it from Thomas Sala, the developer of the Falconeer and stuff, was the first one I saw talking about it, but he refers to them as like when you get these publishers, big or small, that start looking into like gambling psychology and things like that, and how they can essentially manipulate people into getting hooked and spending money. As soon as I see those dark patterns, I'm like, this is not what I'm here for. So if a game can present me a nice bunny costume without making me feel like it's doing that, then yeah, I'm willing to.
You're saying it ironically for now, but I mean,
yeah,
something you grow into.
I don't want to grow into a bunny costume, but okay. Yeah, so let's talk about, I don't know, have we got any other interesting topics today? Look, you've been gone for ages. What else have we got that we should talk about before we get onto the community questions today?
I don't know. You've picked the wrong person to ask here because nothing's coming to mind.
But Luke, you're not. You're the correct person to ask. You've always got stuff for me. I'm a co-host that has information about everything. But no worries, Jonny. You missed your podcast yesterday, so every Friday you're on ACG's channel doing your podcast with Carrick, and you talk for 3 hours about all kinds of things from games to various other parts of life and science and all the rest of it. Didn't happen yesterday. So there must be loads of topics that you've got in mind. Anything that you want to talk about today?
I didn't prepare topics. Usually I do.
I told you not to. You asked, should I prepare some topics? And I said, nah.
Yeah, in my defense, yeah, that's true. I did watch a lot of Capcom previews. I don't know if you guys saw. So there are a bunch of upcoming Capcom games like Valor Mortis, Resident Evil. Which one is that? 6? The upcoming one.
Requiem.
9, Requiem.
Requiem. Thank you.
6 is Luke's favorite Resident Evil game.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, disregard. A couple other Pragmata is another one, the one with the girl, and Onimusha. Yeah. So a bunch of those got previews this week, and I would say they're all looking quite interesting, actually. Are you guys into Souls or like that type of combat game at all?
I like some Souls. I mentioned, in fact, we can talk about Lies of P. I'm curious because I mentioned in your chat on your podcast, and you were like, whoa, I disagree with you on Lies of P. So we'll talk about Lies of P in a minute. That's a good one. I'm playing that at the moment. And I played through the entirety of Elden Ring. I played through Demon Souls, but I don't have a massive history of Souls games. So I'm going to say, yes, I'm quite into the genre, but I've not played them all by any stretch.
Cool.
Which one of those Capcom games are you thinking is a Souls-like?
So Valor Mortis is a first-person Souls-like, which is weird. We've had a few, but that one is like a full, well, maybe it's hybrid. I think you can shoot as well, so it's maybe
just Valor Mortis,
and ranged.
Just to clarify, you say that was at the Capcom event?
Yeah.
What's that?
It was also shown in the pre-show for the Gamescom.
I remember it from Gamescom. I might have the wrong game, but I remember it being tied to the developer of Ghost Runner, right? Is it them?
It is. Mm-hmm.
But
so that's the right one.
They're not. Ghost Runner wasn't under the Capcom banner, was it? I'm confusing myself, but
I don't believe so. Now that you mention it,
but Valor Mortis,
so it might be a new.
Yeah. Okay, that's neat. So they actually showed. So at Gamescom, they showed a trailer, and it had the Tin Soldiers, like American Revolutionary period of history that I know nothing about, and a zombie guy essentially, right? What's it looking like? What have they shown?
So, full-on first-person, melee, lots of parrying, paying attention to enemy moves to counter them and stuff like that. I think it looked pretty good overall. It's just that historically, first-person melee has been very dodgy. We've had a few good examples, like Vermintide 2 was very good. But then again, they didn't do a ton of parrying and really intricate mechanics like that. So I think that's the most interesting part, is to see how they execute on that. It looked quite good visually, too. That's another thing. In terms of accessibility, though, I don't think someone new to the genre would really look to get into it. It seems a little bit tough to get into as like your first Souls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's just off of the preview.
Luke, you turned your camera off, didn't you? That's fine. That caught me by surprise. So, I just saw it and then I've lost it. I can't actually find the gameplay to show right now, but so it's looking interesting. What about Pragmata? Because Pragmata was revealed like years ago with a little girl with like flowing hair, and then they showed it fairly recently, and I didn't think it looked very good. But they've shown it again over the last couple of days, and it's picked up. What are you thinking of it?
Well, I think it's gonna be fun gameplay wise, but there's something about the girl that looks really bad graphically. You know, it looks good in a way. I like the style, but the execution with the hair and everything, if you look at any of the previews, that thing is floating like crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's and it's funny because they were talking about developing specific tech for hair in the engine for this game.
Yes, that they're going to bring to other games going forward. So the next Resident Evil is going to have floating hair.
Dude, I mean, it looked wild, very distracting. I think that's the problem, right? Is that you don't want it to be distracting away from the gameplay.
The hair was its own character, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was, yeah, it has it, you know, has its own volition. Outside of that, though, I like the style. I like the idea. I don't know if you saw how it works, like the hacking. So you're shooting in real time, and then this hacking puzzle pops up for an enemy, and then you can go through it. So it's like a tile-based hacking minigame that you do, and if you succeed, you kind of break the enemy, open it up for more damage, and that ties into the fact that you have very limited ammo in the game. It's a bit like a survival, style. Not really, but you know what I mean, where the ammo is scarce, and then that's how you get through it. Basically, you have to do the hacking so that you don't spend as much ammo getting through enemies. That's the basic dynamic.
Visualize the hacking for me. So you're fighting stuff, you're pressing your usual kind of buttons to shoot or slash things or whatever. How does the hacking present on screen?
So it's like a game of tic-tac-toe, right? With the tiles, and you press your Y, X, B, A button or triangle, square to navigate through it. So, up, down, left, right.
But it doesn't pause combat. Like, this is while you're real-time fighting.
Real-time. Yeah. So you're shooting, I think, with the bumpers. And while you're doing this thing pops up. And in real time, you have to do this little puzzle, which is like you have to navigate around avoiding certain tiles. You can hit certain tiles for power-ups and things like that. And you want to get to like an end tile, which when you hit that, boom, they're hacked.
For some reason, it reminds me of, I was playing, what's that card game? Fragpunk. The other day. It's completely unrelated to Pragmata, but it had a nice little touch. You get these cards between rounds, so it's like a Valorant kind of Counter-Strike kind of game, but it gives you these cards that you can select as a team that modify the gameplay in some way. And we got a modifier that said when someone kills you, they're presented with a maths question on screen that they have to solve before they're able to continue moving. And you're talking about this like puzzle coming up as part of the gameplay where you gotta hack using this tic-tac-toe kind of interface mid-game. Obviously, it's not multiplayer, so it's not quite the same. But I remember I was watching it take place. Someone killed me, which is rare in a video game because I'm really good at video games. I very rarely get killed in multiplayer stuff. That's not true at all. But I died, and the player you saw them completely freeze, and at that moment in time, it just pops up on their screen with whatever question I selected. A simple question, like it was 9 times 5 or something, and a little box they had to select. But it's enough that they go, what the fuck? And then they get shot. That's Pragmata to me now. I liked that as a mechanic. It was quite a funny little twist on the first-person shooter, which is the only reason I let someone kill me.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Luke, did you see any of this Capcom stuff?
Yeah, so I think all of it, actually. I saw certainly the Resident Evil, Onimusha, and Pragmata stuff, all of which looked excellent.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to literally all of those, and they all release next year as well. So, yeah, I can't wait.
Good.
What about Onimusha?
Yeah, Onimusha.
Just curious.
Yeah, it looks great. I was a big fan of the original run of games, so it was like a huge announcement for me when they said that they were making a new one. And I think the more I see of this one, the more I'm really, really into it, because it feels still very distinctly Onimusha. It's not like it kind of has little Souls elements, but it's not a Souls game. It's like a character action game, effectively, but just much slower paced. And I really dig that. So I really like, the way that they're kind of running the combat in this is just super interesting to me, because it's very like methodical samurai-esque. It's like very no wasted movement, not big melee back and forth, like couple of strikes here and there, and then you're done with an enemy, apart from your bosses. And I really dig that. I really, really like it. It's got some fantastic animations as well. Looks great.
I think also interestingly, it's not a Souls game.
Yeah.
You don't have all the trappings of a Souls game. No. You certainly have the precision and, as you say, the mechanical aspect is still very dialed in. I think maybe like trying to think of another game example maybe we could use to. What would you compare it to, do you think?
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? You know what? It's much more like it's not quite the same thing, but it reminds me of how Sucker Punch did the combat in Ghost of Tsushima, which is like much more. I mean, at least the samurai side of the combat, where it's kind of like you are not typically the aggressor in this. You are reacting to things that are going on, and at least Onimusha obviously it has demon enemies and such, which Ghost doesn't. But when you're against like a human equivalent in Onimusha who has a sword or whatever, like the combat flows quite similarly, I think, at least from a visual perspective, to how it does in Ghost, where again you've not got like these drawn out. It's not like a Souls game, like and this isn't fully Souls game, but like Wukong, right? Like
sure,
battles in that against enemies can last quite a long time because it's back and forth. You're looking for openings and they're very dangerous. In this, it's like, okay, well, maybe in a fight there's going to be like 5 strikes and that's it, and so you're just kind of going between those. So yeah, I really like that they're doing that, and I think probably Ghost, at least from a just pure visual perspective, looks to be similar in its combat style.
I haven't seen this Capcom stuff, so I'm going to take your word for it. I did quite want to play all of the games mentioned. It's quite hard not to want to play a Capcom game because they just keep putting out good ones, right? They just have been on fire for the last several years.
So well, yeah.
Okay, Luke. So I'm going to seamlessly move on to the community questions without pause. But if you want to revisit any topics or bring anything up, then absolutely do, because we've run fairly short. But the first question is for you. Do you have a Donkey Kong or any Nintendo statue in your room?
I don't have a Donkey Kong one. I don't necessarily have a statue. Well, I kind of do. I have one of from Luigi's Mansion, but it's only like, it's sort of like this big, I'd say. So it's not like huge, and it's mostly PVC. But let me see if I can find it. Why don't I go off camera for a second?
It's Luigi's Mansion. It's Luigi or it's the mansion?
It's Luigi with his equipment and the ghost dog.
Huh.
Ghost dog. Okay. Jonny, have you played Luigi's Mansion?
No.
Luke, should Jonny play Luigi's Mansion?
Yeah, should definitely
really?
play Luigi's Mansion.
Which one?
It's great. Play the most recent one.
But when you miss out on the story.
Actually. No. It's a Nintendo game, so no. Just go and play the most recent one. Hopefully they patch it for Switch 2 just to boost the frame rate and the resolution. The resolution of the original Switch one isn't actually that bad, but it's like the most impressive Switch game visually, I'd say, as well, and it's really fun. So,
okay, but what are you doing it?
in the most recent one, you're in like a massive hotel, basically, but it's quite a difficult game to explain because you're sort of like a really crap Ghostbuster. So you like hoover up like ghosts in the environment, and there's like puzzle solving, and it's a strange game to explain, but that's basically what you're doing. You're hoovering ghosts and interacting with the environment and puzzle solving, and there's mild Metroidvania elements to it as well.
It already sounded awful before you added the Metroidvania elements.
No. Yeah, no, don't worry. It's not like I'm overselling that part of it. It's like very, very mild. So don't worry yourself.
Okay, so you run around a big hotel with a Hoover solving puzzles.
Yep.
I'm glad you recommended Jonny plays it and not me, because that is not my kind of game. Anyway. Oi, now
it's
I have
fun.
to put it like that.
It's really good.
Is it though? Is it?
Yeah, no, it is fun.
Does it have some kind of like comedy delivery? What makes it fun? Because that sounded awful.
It's quite It's like very slapstick, right? Like it's very very silly. And the animation level in it is very impressive. It's quite Pixar-esque in its like presentation, I would say, and it's kind of slapsticky humorness about it. So,
all right, go and find your Luigi statue, and then you can tell me more about it if you want to. Jonny, are you going to play it based on that?
You know, I think there is a pretty low chance for Nintendo stuff in general, because I just haven't connected with that stuff in many years, really. I think Zelda is the outlier. You know, Tears of the Kingdom was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But even Breath of the Wild wasn't really working for me. So there's something about those IPs that don't quite jive with me as much.
No, I'm like the one that I would want to like is Metroid aesthetically, that series, but then it's a Metroid game, and I don't like Metroidvanias. So I struggle with that one. I'm like,
okay, hold on. First of all, are you a bad person? Is that the issue? Okay, gotcha. Second thing, is it that you've played like one bad Metroidvania and now you think you don't like Metroidvanias? Like the person who tastes sushi for the first time and it's like really bad sushi, and that's the impression they have.
I can't think of a bad Metroidvania that I've played. It's more I'm the same with roguelikes. I don't like to retrace my path over and over again, which is conceptually what a Metroidvania is, right? So I like to press forwards and get fresh environments at all times. Otherwise, I get sad to recycle content. Metroidvanias can probably be good. I didn't actually finish it, but most of the way through Ori, which is, I guess you'd definitely call that a Metroidvania, right? It's got the map and everything. But quite often, like I tried the Prince of Persia one that came out last year or the year before that, and just didn't enjoy that at all. I played Hollow Knight, didn't like Hollow Knight very much. I'm not sure if that's because it was a Metroidvania though, but...
You know, I was going to say at least I feel validated, because I'm not Hollow Knight pilled like a lot of people. I think it looks great, but as a game, in fact, I just reinstalled it to give it another try. Yeah, we should talk about the Silk Song in the Room, which is this massive cultural phenomenon. Apparently, you know, people care so much about it. I find it really interesting because as a game, again, I think it looks beautiful, but I don't think it's as widespread in the sense that everybody loves it. I think, you know, like you, some people may like the play style, other people won't. But for some reason, the discourse around it is like, it's this giant game above even Ori and other big hitters. So what do you think about Hollow Knight that's like captured everybody?
Yeah, like I don't understand it myself because, like I say, I played it and I didn't really get along with it. I massively respect the hand-drawn art and style of it and the kind of culture that's built around it. But Luke, are you a Hollow Knight person? Are you looking forward to Silk Song?
Yeah, I love the first game, so I am a Hollow Knight person. But it's a very interesting game because it's an incredibly well-made Metroidvania, the first game, with a really cool art style and world and very responsive controls, but it wasn't like a blistering success out of the gate. Like, it did very well. But then this kind of like very interesting word of mouth spread about it, that it was incredible. And, you know, suddenly a couple of years in, it was selling, like, it went from like something like 3 million copies sold to like closer to 20, basically, through word of mouth. And that's what's kind of created this big hype around Silksong, which and Team Cherry, you know, notoriously long developers, like they take a long time. So I'm really looking forward to the second game. I really can't wait to play it. But at the same time, I'm quite daunted by it because they're quite, you know, the first game was pretty long, and Metroidvanias aren't like this one, which are very intricate. They're not the type of game that you can easily put down and pick back up, which is a bit of disaster for me because invariably I'm going to put it down at some point and try and pick it back up. So, yeah, I don't like, even though I love the franchise, like the first game, I don't quite understand like the level of hype that has kind of coalesced around it, because even though I think it's superb, I wouldn't say it's, you know, game of the generation type stuff. Like but it's just very good. It's just a very good, but there are lots of very good games. But yeah, it's just been interesting, this one. It just got this word of mouth. I think as well, the low price buy-in of the first one really influenced people, you know, the value proposition, right? Like there's a lot of gameplay in there. They did a lot of free updates. So just all these things happened that made it such a kind of big darling of the, you know, gaming scene, which is great for the game. I'm looking forward to the second one.
So, Jonny, the good sushi, what Metroidvania should I be sampling to change my mind?
Hades.
That's not Metroidvania, that's roguelike, and I love it.
It has Metroid. Wait, no, it doesn't really. No, you're right. Dead Cells is a really good one. Have you ever tried that one?
I played it a very little. Is it Metroidvania-like though, or isn't that another roguelike? Do you get...
Well, it is both, but it's certainly Metroidvania in the way that you backtrack by fast traveling back to points, and you can then explore areas that you couldn't access before.
And it's very much got the Vania half of Metroidvania, hasn't it?
Right, Dead Cells. When you get a new skill or a new jump, you know, something like that. So it's got those elements. I think it does a really good mix with the roguelite stuff. But then again, you said you don't like the roguelite stuff that much. And those kind of tend to mix quite a bit, you know, the Metroidvania with Rogue. It's a pretty common mix, which maybe explains why you haven't gotten into it too much.
Yeah, good shout for Hades though. I do love Hades, so anybody that recommends Hades is along the right lines, whether it's the right genre or not. I'll take it. Favorite racing game? Go try Hades. Absolutely, I'll probably enjoy it. So that is fine. Let's do, because our next question is for you, Jonny, and it's a multi-part. This is Gaming with Passion, Demon Hunter, who you already know, but he wants to get to know you better because it's a multi-part question. What's your favorite anime?
I have a lot. I am an anime enjoyer. I'll let you know. Are you guys big into anime or no?
I love it, but I couldn't claim to be big into it because I've not watched enough of them.
Sure.
I've got a handful of like 6 or 7, some that I love.
Okay. Loki, sounds like you're...
Yeah, pretty. Not recently, but generally speaking, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like favorite, it's kind of a tough one, right? I think something like Death Note might be my favorite. Yeah, that's always a classic. But then again, the quality does kind of vary. So
You're so on point with some conversations that we've had in Discord over the last week or so. There'll be people in chat now that are like, him as well. Yeah, them last 4 or 5 episodes, eh?
Attack on Titan was an epic one to watch. Definitely.
Yeah.
Some more recent ones, Free Run was an amazing watch. Some good mix of humor with adventuring and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, those
fantastic answers. They're 3 that I've watched in their entirety. Yes, so on board with all of them, and they're all ones. So Chronic's a recent convert to the anime, and he's been given all of those as on his list of watching. He's done Death Note recently. Freerun is highly recommended by several people, including me. I love that one as well. And Attack on Titan was also brilliant. So fine choices. Demon Hunter, if you're looking to watch some, those are all fine choices, endorsed by at least two of us. Luke, have you seen those three?
Yeah.
Endorsed by all three of us? Yeah, there we go. Look at that.
Yeah.
No, Wilo, I haven't finished the previous question. Quick, bring it back. So the next question, Jonny, was the saying music.
What, like favorite?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Music band, it says.
Certainly, in terms of inspiration, Red Hot Chili Peppers, the guitarist John Frusciante, one of the main guitarists there, has been probably the biggest influence in how I play personally. But then stuff like Metallica is like amazing to play. And so there's a mix of, so I'd say Red Hot Chili Peppers, Metallica, and kind of go back and forth on to give you a third one there, because a lot are competing. Something like Avenged Sevenfold.
Carrack talks about them sounding. That's the one that he always loops back to say they always sound the same in Carrack's mind.
Yeah, but he's wrong. Fine.
I wasn't saying I agree. It's just like he touches on that particular band an awful lot for someone that sounds like he doesn't like them. You've obviously got lots of guitars on your wall. Do you play for fun? You play for public? What's the deal with all these guitars? What do you do with them?
Yeah, I play for fun. I played in some bands during university, and at some point I considered maybe becoming a musician, but I wanted to keep work and hobbies separate, so I specifically chose to go down software engineering instead, something totally different. And I play for fun only. I make some music. I have a bunch of music on Spotify and like YouTube Music and stuff for people to use on their streams. So that was
nice.
And yeah, I just really play for fun, for enjoyment.
Where can people find this music?
I can put a link in chat. It's Jonny Plays Live on Spotify and any other platform. So if you search that, you should find it.
Awesome. Next part of that same question. Movies.
Oh. Okay. I mean, how much time do you have?
Oh, several movies worth.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. We're talking like all time?
By all means.
Okay. The best for me that I still rewatch pretty much every year is the original Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah.
Pretty much every year around Christmas.
Last week. Yeah.
Yeah, gonna be hitting that. Outside of that though, others that are pretty much up there that I could rewatch like at any moment and be super happy are like Troy with Brad Pitt, Eric Bana, great movie. Trying to think of like some of the best ones. I think I really liked the Batman trilogy from Chris Nolan as well. The Dark Knight, probably the best one, where they hit the peak. And I like a lot of Chris Nolan movies in general. Interstellar, probably up there with my favorite, like more recent movie ever. I've rewatched that like 3 or 4 times as well.
Interesting. I hear a lot of hype for Interstellar, but it's never appealed to me.
Good.
Okay, but did you cry in the scene? I'll try not to spoil, where McConaughey is crying and he's, looking at the footage from his daughter.
No, but that's because I like empathy.
Yes.
So.
Okay, so Luke completely lacks empathy. Luke, what movies do you like?
There's too many. There's too I have a very broad and eclectic love of film, basically. So pretty much most stuff I really enjoy. If you to ask, like, I have like kind of pockets of like stuff that I really like. So I really dig like 80s action films, for example, 80s and 90s stuff. I'm a really big horror fan. I like a lot of stuff from specific directors, but yeah, there's like way too many to list. But like, I think if you saw my like Blu-ray collection, you'd see it's very like, it's kind of
Fair.
very eclectic.
But you lack empathy and you cheer for the bad guys. Understood.
Yeah,
you are
basically, yeah.
a monster. Last part of this one, Jonny, the obvious one. Same question. Games.
Okay. Oof. Games is tough though. Because oof. Okay. It's hard. Do you measure them by fun or quality? What would you
and it's got to be quality, because I'm a big believer that games could be more than fun. So these are your favorites that have touched you in any way, be it the fun strings or the empathy strings or the profound impact on your life strings.
I mean, yeah, it's a tough one. Certainly a few Final Fantasy games have shaped a lot of how I think about games, and some of the OSTs are stuff that I listen to even to this day, and like I get a bit emotional sometimes, like listening to like Tifa's theme or whatever from Final Fantasy VII, like some classics. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII, 10 really made a huge impression in me when I played. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably one of the best games I've ever played as well, still to this day. It's incredible. There have been some recent games that are up there. We were talking about Space Marine 2 in the realm of like pure fun and multiplayer. That might be one of my favorite multiplayer games ever so far.
Just to briefly interrupt, I have to cut a line under it just to say that was 3, so that's your final answer. I have to cut a line under it because there's a super chat from Gamsley that says Johnny's right, League of Legends is the best video game, but League of Legends did not make the list. Final cut has been drawn. So we've got Red Dead Redemption, 2 Final Fantasy games, Space Marine.
You tricked me into that.
And League of Legends does not rank. This is controversial but interesting take. Tell me about, this is just for me, I'm playing it at the moment, so very much spoiler free, but as everything always is. What did you think of 16?
So I go back and forth on 16 because I didn't get a lot of the camaraderie and fun moments with the group that I got in a lot of the other ones. It's kind of like if you wanted to make a Game of Thrones version of Final Fantasy. So it's all very grim and serious, nobody's allowed to have a good time ever kind of thing. So for me, it was a bit too much on that. And those are some of the themes that I really enjoy from Final Fantasy. It's the camaraderie, the friendship, and the cool moments between, struggles and stuff. I didn't get a lot of that in that game, but I liked what they tried with the combat system. Did it get old towards the end? Yes, a bit, but I really liked what they did with the combo style stuff and the grandiose battles, with like the epic summons and stuff. I really like that.
I did one of its bigger ones yesterday or the day before, and I was just like, they go on too long, the big battles, but like moments for the OLED was like, fucking hell, they've gone all in on this stuff. And it's very much not similar to old Final Fantasy games. So I'm like you, the ones that you listed, 7 and 10, brilliant games. I need to go back and play 8. I reckon I would like it more now than I did at the time. Have you not?
To my shame, no. Yeah, I do have to.
What a shame! It's too late to ever go back to it now.
It's too ugly now.
No, it's well worth playing. It's an interesting one because I played it. Most people's favorite Final Fantasy is the one that they play the first, right? Whatever one pulls you into the series, most people will look back on that and go, "That's the best one." And for me, that was 7. And at the time when I played 8, I was loving it. It was CDs back in the day, Johnny. We played games off of these little round discs, right? And the first two discs were good, and then it came to an abrupt point where it should have stopped and didn't. And I didn't like 8 very much, but I reckon if I were to go back to it now, having recently played the original Final Fantasy VII again and looking at it kind of through a different lens now, 8 I reckon might be brilliant to go back to.
Do you know what? Where I lived, there was a fanboyism around 7 and 8, where if you loved 7, you had to hate 8. And if you loved 8, you had to hate 7. It was almost like they were in competition, which is silly, makes no sense. But that was actually a big reason why at the time I didn't play that. It was just like people were shitting on it. People who were fans of 7 because, they changed this, right? Or like, it's different. It's not like the prior.
Yeah, they've changed a lot more since then. But no, do go back and play it. It's a pretty interesting game. And it has the camaraderie and stuff that you enjoyed about the other ones. So well worth a look. Let's do... Wait, I've lost it. Let's do... Because those were fine answers.
By the way, I had a topic to bring up because I saw this pop up, and 70% of Cyberpunk sales on the Switch 2 were physical. So think about that. So, they just released the Switch 2
Cyberpunk,
version.
right? Us sophisticated digital-only gamers have already played Cyberpunk.
I wouldn't have put it that way. I would have been more diplomatic about it because you've alienated all those people now. But
the physical Cyberpunk owners, they don't have access to YouTube, so it's fine.
True, they live under a cave. They literally have to come out of their caves and get the cartridge.
They can't watch this podcast unless we do a physical release. Put it on a disc, then maybe they'll be offended. But until then, no, they're all right. They're all right.
So what do you make? Because I thought, physical was on the down low, but it seems like it's still...
I mean, it's definitely declined, right? The Switch is an odd case because it's a console that you carry around and don't necessarily have it constantly connected to the internet, for one thing. There's also been a lot of noise around whether a Switch 2 game is on its cartridge or not, which I don't know how wide that spreads off of social media, but within a certain circle, people kind of shine a light on what is and isn't included on a Switch 2 cartridge, because it's all new over there to potentially not have the game on the cartridge and to have a key instead. Nintendo, like everything Nintendo, for better or worse, and sometimes it is for better, lags behind what the other players in the industry are doing by a good number of years. So the transition across to digital, like you look at Xbox in particular with their push on subscription services, they moved faster than anybody else, really. No, Steam moved faster than anyone else. The PC space moved faster than anybody else towards all digital. Xbox pushed very hard on it, and at this point in time, I think even Gears of War, if you buy the disc on PlayStation, the campaign is included, and I'm not sure it is on Xbox. So even within that kind of like Microsoft Sony parallel, Microsoft are more digital than Sony, and then Nintendo are somewhere way behind, where actually people do still appreciate being able to take a cartridge in their pocket to their nan's house, to put it in their Switch 2 to play over Christmas dinner or whatever. I don't know what the deal is like. But it is just a different kind of ecosystem.
Specific use case, like
it's the specific use case of the Switch 2, I think. So it is, but it is a different environment, because you do if I were to use a Switch 2 portably, it would be in my car on a lunch break at work or something, right? Where I wouldn't be able to download something, where the cartridge would have a lot more kind of value to me. So I don't think Cyberpunk, as an example, is indicative of physical media persevering, as it were. I don't think it's going away entirely, because there are always going to be collectors and people that want to hold on to something physical, but distribution is clearly drying up, right? It's becoming less mainstream, and you have to look at the likes of limited run games and people like that to
Can you even
really
get
do special.
PC?
No, PC, you can't, you don't even get readers, do you? So physical versions completely dried up on PC, as far as I'm aware. I don't even think you can, when you get the collector's editions of Hades or something, I don't think they'll cover a PC disc, because no one has a disc drive on their PC.
To remember the boxes, you'd get Diablo 2 and it's this big chunky box.
But Luke, you're a Blu-ray collector. You were talking about your Blu-ray collection earlier. Do you collect physical games?
Only on Switch, funnily enough. The only one I will still buy physical games for.
There you go. we've crashed.
What's the distinction? Like, why do you buy them on Switch?
I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you. I think maybe some element of it is the portability of those games physically. Like you know, pick them up and take them. You know, and that's the point of the system anyway. Also, I think they tend to hold their value significantly compared to any other, particularly the first party games, right? So compared to any other physical edition of games that come out. So, but I mean, 90% of the games I buy are digital. So yeah, I'm pretty much part of that digital present / future.
Mm-hmm. Fair. Our next question, I'm going to have to fill in some of the blanks on this one. The text that came through is from Tom, so we know what the question is, but the text that came through is good E. The rest of the question, though, is good evening, gents. Fantastic podcast. Asa, you look really damn good today. What's not to like?
You plugged all of that in. Okay, gotcha.
What's not to like is the key takeaway, and I just put it there. I think he meant, what's not to like? This is our regular Tom question. What's not to like? Luke?
Battle passes that expire.
True. Yeah, those can fuck off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Jonny?
And League does those, by the way, just to bring back League.
No.
You get like a fixed amount of time. It's generous, so it's like a month maybe. But yeah, you have limited time to make your way through the pass.
Yeah. Have you got anything else? What's not to like? Quite broad and open.
The $80 price point is not to like. I don't know about you guys, but I've been pretty like hesitant to buy some games recently because they've been, even on PC, where usually you can get them on sale day one, right? Like in sites and stuff, but a lot of them have been pretty damn close to completely full price. So I'm not too excited about the prospect of $80 games or £80 games even.
Indeed. It's on the next question. No worries, Tom. No worries. Thank you for the usual. We do enjoy our what's not to like. Gamer with Passion. This one's for Luke. Are you going to pick up Metal Eden this upcoming week?
Oh yeah, I forgot that was out. Maybe.
Did you play the
I
demo?
don't know about this. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I really enjoyed the demo. I did enjoy the demo. I didn't enjoy the performance of the demo, which is terrible. But average. But I really enjoyed the game. So I don't know what I'll pick up this week because I'm playing other stuff at the moment. I don't want to put too much on my list. But definitely one, provided the performance is improved, one I'll pick up down the line because I really did enjoy the demo, which I was surprised by.
What kind of game is it? I'm just checking out the trailer now.
Yeah, it's an FPS. It's a bit like a very sci-fi doomy type game. I think I can't remember the devs. It might have been the Ruiner devs from memory or something like that. But yeah, I don't. If the presume the demo's still out. But yeah, maybe go and check out the demo because it is actually quite good.
Is it like Returnal, that type of thing?
No, it's more kind of like linear first-person shooter, like a Doom Eternal or a Doom 2016 or something like that kind of game. But it's enjoyable.
Yeah, I've got the trailer playing at the moment, and I can see why you would say Returnal just from the presentation of it. But from what I gather, it is.
I just thought about it. But...
Yeah, I haven't played the demo, but it is quite different. There's a lot of games coming out in September. Is there anything in particular for September for you, Jonny?
Yes. I actually have like...
Oh shit, it's got a binder.
Dude,
it's thick as well.
I got my organizer here with my dates. So on the 4th, we have Indie DLC plus Silk Song. So depending if I happen to like Hollow Knight in my second try, I might go for that. But Indie DLC is a solid pick. And then we have Chronos on the 5th, which I thought looked fairly interesting. I saw a few previews of that. I think I would try that out. And then I have about a week to play around with that. And on the 12th, I have Borderlands 4.
Yep.
You guys into Borderlands at all? No.
I skipped 3 entirely, but I do intend to play 4.
Okay. Maybe Asa, I'll have my people hit up your people, and we'll.
You have people. Oh shit. Hit gently, but yes, absolutely.
A couple other mentions like Deep Rock Survivor, I think, is coming out on the 17th. That's been on early access, I believe, for quite a while. That looked cool. And Silent Hill F on the 25th. Yeah.
That's a good binder.
That's what I got. Anything else you guys are looking forward to?
Oh, there were a couple more on that as well, but I can't think right now. What's on your September list, Luke?
Certainly Chronos. Certainly Silent Hill F. The latter in particular. There are others.
Final Fantasy Tactics. Sorry, I just remembered.
There are others. I just can't remember.
Is that a brand new one or like a remake or re-release?
Tactics is a remake of Final Fantasy Tactics. So, and it includes. You can play it either remastered or in its original guise as well. So, but I've not played that one. I've played lots of Final Fantasies, and I love my Final Fantasies, including old ones. So I can't wait to. I love tactics games as well.
Can I ask a tangent question there? What do you think of Zodiac Age, Final Fantasy 12?
I haven't. Do you know what? I haven't. That was the first one. So Zodiac Age was the first one where, excluding the online ones, Square Enix took a massive deviation on what a Final Fantasy game was.
Yes.
For my taste, right? Because 10, you can say like it didn't have the overworld map and stuff. Like things were already changing to a degree, but 12 was very different. And I got it, and I launched it, and I played a little bit, and it drew all of these little curvy lines up to my enemies, and I went, it's not what I was expecting, and I never played it again. But it is on my list to get back to. I'm currently working through the pixel remasters because I haven't played many of them prior to 7. So I've done 1 and 2 now, which are really interesting to go back to. Like maybe slightly difficult to go back to, but interesting just to see the roots of the IP. And I want to do, like, 6 is supposed to be freaking awesome, so I can't wait to get to 6. But I want to go through the rest of those, and then I want to bounce back to ones I missed, which includes 12. There's not many I missed, but 12 very much.
There's something about 12 that's amazing. Maybe you didn't get too much into it with what you played. The Gambit system, which is like the best way I can say it is like a template that you can design for how your companions will behave in battle. So you can have like a condition to say, like, if enemy is below this much HP, use this, or if you're below certain HP, maybe use a potion or use a spell. And similarly, you can say, oh, if they're weak to this, use that. You can build up this stack on your companions, and you're basically programming your companions. Like a software engineer, it's like I view it as an algorithm you're designing for your companions. So that was a really cool mechanic that hasn't really been done in any other Final Fantasy, to my knowledge. And I really enjoyed. I thought it worked really well.
That's neat. I've definitely seen mechanics like that pulled into the mini games in 7 Rebirth and stuff.
Sure. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, now I know where those came from. I've seen them in other games, and I can't remember if it's Final Fantasy. I can't remember World of Final Fantasy, like the odd side ones and things like that. Might have done something similar, or they might not. I could be completely misremembering my games, but
it's worth checking out. Asa.
Does it still have good music? That's the key that can make up, like, even the bad Final Fantasies, like 15, can be brilliant because they have brilliant music, right? It's 12
got. How dare you? No, I have a guilty pleasure for the the boy band. Final Fantasy.
You're gonna have won some fans with that. Wrong fans. Wrong uns in chat, but yeah. Let's see. Next question then. Let's do that. Oh no, there isn't a next question. We might have done them. No, that was it for questions.
I have a question for you.
For me,
where did the name Asa came from?
Well, it's just
some lore.
It's not super interesting lore. It's an Old Testament Bible name that my mother chose for me. It's a king in the Old Testament who does kingly things. It is my whole name. It is my real name. It is not one that I chose from any particular game or with any other meaning.
I thought it was something you came up with. Gotcha.
Whole, actual, and real name. Pretty similar to Luke in that regard.
Damn, I hadn't connected 2 and 2, but yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So, welcome Pete as well. Chronic, I'm assuming you got your coffee, sweetened it up. Iggy's playing Final Fantasy IX Remake. No, he's wishing for the Final Fantasy IX Remake to happen because that anniversary event is any day now, right?
Yeah, that's a little bit like Bloodborne, where people keep rumoring that it will get a remake. Did you guys try that mod that kind of revamps a lot of the textures and gives you the HD, so the 16:9 and everything?
No, I know that the original 7 has a good mod for that as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, because I booted it up, but I haven't quite like played through it or anything. But it looks way better for sure with that mod.
I'll wait until official word that the remake has been cancelled, and then maybe I'll look into playing it modded when I get to 9. You know. But yeah, like it has been long rumored. Well, the most recent rumors were definitely that it's not happening anymore, that it was on its way and it hit turmoil and got cancelled. But we'll see at this event. I guess that'll be kind of its last chance saloon to see if it is real or is not.
I mean, dude, when they're done with 7, and let's be honest, it might take a few years, but when they're finally done with 7, next logical step is to pick another great hit and remake it fully like that.
I mean, I would love it. I'm not sure. I don't know what the future for Final Fantasy is, because it's obviously it's a bottomless pit of throw money in it for Square Enix, and whether those games recover that money or not is a question for them. But I'm not sure if we'll get more remakes or not. I would love it, and I'd love a Lost Odyssey remake in the same vein, because I really do love what they've done with the trilogy for 7. But gaming with passions, we do have more questions. Atari have acquired the IP rights to 5 Ubisoft games: Cold Fear, I Am Alive, Child of Eden, Grow Home, and its sequel, Grow Up. Are you interested in any of these IPs? No. What about you, Johnny?
No.
So Child of Eden I liked, but I wouldn't say any of these are terribly exciting.
No, and if they were, Atari wouldn't be able to afford them. Most likely. So, Luke, you were a firm no as well. Just no. Yeah. Sorry, I mean, it's a flat no for the Ubisoft games that Atari have acquired. Let's hope they didn't pay too much.
They got them like from a bargain.
I mean, they must have done.
Good. Some of them are good. Yeah.
It depends, because when an IP is as old as some of those, then I'm not sure what the value is over just creating a new game. Even having a similar name, if you want. If you like the vibe of the name, then it's probably just as valuable as the kind of audience for it. But Tom has a question for Johnny. If he remembers right, you're a fellow Neo fan. Like NIOH, you know the one. Are you looking forward to the third one? And if so, do they need to include some cool new mechanics, or would it basically be more of the same to scratch the itch?
First of all, I salute you. Yes, I'm a fellow Neo enjoyer. Loved 1 and 2. They were hard games, but I really enjoyed them. And I was a bit disappointed with the one they did last Ronin. Something Ronin. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed with that one, but that's fair. They tried something in a different genre as an open world game, totally different. Didn't quite work out. So yes, I am excited. I love Neo games. I want to see some improvements on the UI side, because their menus are horrible. And the inventory management sucks. But yeah, the games are great, man. I'm super, super excited for Neo 3. 100%.
When's that coming out? Ish.
See, I don't think they've given a date. Let me check.
That's fair.
I think they've said early 2026.
Well, that's not that far away. I've not played the first 2. Are they on the list? I'm not sure. You're selling me on them. I'm going to add them to the list. I'll get to the Neo games at some point. Is the first one still worth playing?
Yes, absolutely. I will say the second one is a bit more polished, but both are fantastic, and the gameplay is very similar. So I'd say both hold up really well. They got some difficulty spikes. That's the thing, but they're very satisfying games. Like as you get better, it's really rewarding. So, yeah, because you've played, some challenging games. And by the way, I haven't forgotten about Lies of P. We said we'd go back to that too. So, but yeah, you've played some challenging games already. So I don't think it's going to be too difficult for you to pick up. And it's super fun. I think it's even better than a lot of these other Souls games, even from Software.
Fair enough. Let's do that Lies of P thing. So I think we've got through all of our questions now. Lies of P, though. I can't remember what our disagreement was because it wasn't in person. You were on a podcast and I typed in chat that I was playing it and I was like, not sure about the parry system. I'd like the parries to feel a bit more impactful. And you said, no, that's incorrect. Is this because you're a massive fan of Lies of P?
You were incorrect. No, the thing is, I'm not a big parry fan to begin with, so that's one. But I thought they nailed the dopamine factor. When you hit a parry, first of all, there's a nice little ding
Red
or
bonk.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's like a little bonk. I found that really satisfying. And the fact that I could reliably hit parries with enough practice, right? I'm not saying I was some kind of god or anything, but like once you learn the patterns, you could reliably hit the parries. And that was really satisfying because typically in other Souls games like Dark Souls 1, 2, and all these, the parry was like a gamble.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, you would have a crack at it and sometimes it would work, but very often it wouldn't be reliable. So I like that it was mechanically reliable if you got the timing right. And once you open them up for a big stagger hit, that felt really good. Especially because my first playthrough, I did like big weapons, just like full strength build, unga bunga. And when you got one of those visceral hits with the massive, I had that wrench. It was like a big wrench, a really big,
really big
heavy.
Unga Bunga wrench.
Yeah, full unga bunga. So when I opened them up for a visceral with that thing, it felt like I was hitting them with the weight of the world. So that's why I thought parries were impactful. But where are you coming from? Is it that like the timing felt weird or what?
No, so I get what you're saying on it in that the timing of the parry is very much on the button, which I like. Whereas a Dark Souls, it's kind of part of the animation, isn't it? You have to anticipate and press the button so the animation intercepts the attack rather than your button press. I think I've not done much parrying in those games, but that's the kind of difference in feel in that it's very responsive as a parry. You hit the button as you're taking the hit, and the hits are telegraphed very fairly, which the more nasty fights in a Souls game are not fairly telegraphed. Like what's that one? Expedition 33 is a nightmare for it because the enemies will like pick up a giant weapon, start a swing, pause it by your face, wait for 3 seconds, and then it's like,
it was criminal.
You bastards. Lies of P is the opposite of that, right? They're very fair with their wind-ups and telegraphing. You can see when an attack is coming. Mostly by and large, from what I've seen of it so far, and I'm just over halfway through, I think. The thing that I didn't enjoy about the parries is that they're not parries, right? And the game doesn't tell you that they're parries. It tells you that they're perfect guards. So when you're doing it, you get your noise and your flash of red, but it doesn't actually impact the enemy. It doesn't interrupt their animation or their attack in any way. It's a perfect guard instead. And I prefer a parry system that is a parry system that interrupts, that feels more like momentary, like Bosch, I stopped that attack, rather than Bosch, that one didn't do any damage, but carry on, sir. So it's like it's a minor criticism because I do like Lies of P.
You do impact in the sense that you break their weapon. So if
after a number of them, yeah.
If you perfect guard enough times, you will break the weapon, which is a really cool system. I agree
it's a cool
with you,
idea,
though.
But I usually find they're dead before that anything breaks.
It really depends. It can be really good in some boss fights, especially if you're if they attack you a lot. Each of those is one chink in the armor, so to speak. But I get what you're saying in that sense. I get it because they don't open up for a riposte or however you pronounce that. But yeah, I can see that because other games, it's more impactful in the sense that you do completely stop what they're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We
I was
lost
just about to ask Luke about it, but he's disappeared. So we'll wait until he comes back. I don't know. Wait.
Where do you
I'm not
feel
sure.
the difficulty level is for like?
He's had a power
played
cut.
Elden Ring.
So Luke may be back in a minute. He may not. He's had a power cut. We'll see if he gets power back in time, or he might miss his outro. In terms of difficulty, that's a good question. That's hard to answer because I've not played that many difficult games. I played Elden Ring and got through it at a reasonable pace. It took me a freaking long time. It took me like 2 years to get through Elden Ring. But not through hitting.
That was
But it wasn't through hitting any particular obstacle, right? There was no point in my journey where I was like, this is insurmountable, I need to stop and have a break. There were just points in it where I was like, I'm a bit bored now, I need to have a break. It took me a long time in the same way that The Witcher 3 took me a long time. Like, it's a big game and it's good.
Dude, yeah.
But I want to go and do something else every now and again. And then I'll hammer it for a while and do a couple of weeks or whatever. And that was cool. In terms of difficulty, though, like it has its moments that were frustrating, but nothing that took more than 30 minutes an hour, really, I don't think. And I played quite stubbornly. I refused to change my build to overcome any challenge. I had my flail, I liked my flail, and I was damn well sticking with it, and it was fine. So progress through that. Lies of P. I haven't hit any big obstacle. I find the bosses possibly harder than Elden Ring's bosses in some ways. I find the frustration builds a little more than they do in Elden Ring when you get them doing like massive AoEs and things like that. Do you know what I find actually is the healing item is pathetic. That's the key difference for me that makes it more frustrating so far. Because the healing item in Lies of P is like, bah, I'm just going to die. That was a big old animation to get like one hit back. So that makes it feel tougher, I think. And it's a subtle thing. I'm trying to determine, like, why does Lies of P feel tougher than Elden Ring? Because the bosses aren't necessarily taking me longer to conquer. They're not doing anything untoward that makes me think they should be harder. But it's just that I don't think you feel as powerful in Lies of P. You don't feel...
I agree.
Like you can take as much back from a boss. And it's those health potions that do it.
Like, a big part of that is the movement. Because in Elden Ring... you can do a lot of fights around just spacing. Yeah. So like sprinting back and forward into the range of the boss and just spacing out attacks. Lies of P, they're going to gap close to you. Like,
yeah.
You pretty much have to parry or dodge. You can dodge too. But a lot of times there's no way around it. You know, the way I look at it is Elden Ring, you have 25 ways to get through a fight. So if you're struggling, there's always something you can try to do differently. Lies of P, there aren't that many ways to get through a boss fight. It is through either parrying or dodging those attacks that are coming one way or another. You don't have as many kind of options.
That's fair.
So it's
That's
a little
probably
bit more like, this is what the game's about. This like Sekiro, where that one is about deflections. So it's like much more. This is the line. You have to be up here in skill, and then you get through it. Pretty much, there's no other way around it.
Yeah, I'm scared of Sekiro for that reason.
And some will be like skill walls when you hit a tough boss.
I think you're probably right. That closing of the gap is probably the subtle difference that I'm feeling that makes it feel a little bit tougher, despite not feeling tougher at the same time.
Yeah, because bosses are pretty oppressive in Lies of P. They don't give you that much space. And in Elden Ring, I kind of feel like they're chilling a bit in their range. And you choose to enter their range or not, kind of.
Yeah, fair enough. How would you say Lies of P ranks on difficulty compared to like other games that you find tough?
So the thing with that is it has some difficulty spikes that go pretty high. That's the thing. But overall, it's on the slightly easier side. So I would compare it with Elden Ring more or less in difficulty. But the problem is, again, just Elden Ring, you have so many options to get around difficult fights. Whereas Lies of P, you have to get to a certain level of skill, of anticipation of attacks and everything for you to be able to go through. So that's what I would say. It's still a tough game overall. It has some tough difficulty spikes.
Okay, got those to look forward to. The other thing that I found with Lies of P is if I do want to just blast through it and the boss has summons available, the one time I used one, it was massively overpowered to the extent that it completely broke that boss fight for me, which was the first. It's like an electrical RoboCop guy jumps off of a spire,
Yes.
one of the early bosses, and he was like, "Oh, he's fairly tough," and then I pulled up this summon and the boss just died instantly. I was like, "Oh, not going to use them then." That just felt awful. But yeah, I'll get through Lies of P one way or another. I've committed to not using any more of them.
When it comes to the summons, the bosses aren't very well designed to like be intelligent about it, right? Just the fact that the aggro is split between two targets gives you a very big advantage.
Yeah.
To be fair, the summons are not very tanky, so they die pretty quickly. What I found is the couple times I tried them, they give you a bit of a buffer where you can deal damage to the boss while the summon is alive. It will eventually die fairly quickly, but that kind of bought you a little window to get in the fight, get some hits in, and maybe just kind of get through the fight quicker. And if you're struggling, for example, with the second phase of a boss, that can be a good way for you to navigate just getting through the first part. If you're just trying to get to phase 2 with more heals, for example, that can be a practical way for you to make progress more quickly. And there's no shame in it. You know, I know people gatekeep and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's if you're not having fun retrying phase 1 super often, that can be a good workaround.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. I think that's probably a good stopping point for our show. So, what I'm going to do next, I don't think Luke is going to make it back. I'm just having a little check to see if he's pulled back onto Discord, but I think his island has no power for the time being. He's in Jersey. Where they don't even paint the roundabouts. It's so wild over there. Or not wild, the opposite, so tame. I don't know. Anyway, Luke's gone. Jonny, thank you for joining us and talking games and other bits and pieces. It has been awesome to have you. It has been a good chat. I'm sure everyone that's come through and watched has enjoyed it as well. Can you tell people where they can find you and what you're up to?
Yes, I am Jonny Plays Live on Twitch. I stream there, usually League, sometimes other games like Indiana Jones last week. I'm also on YouTube. My main channel is just Jonny Plays Live. I do more general gaming stuff, and then I have my League channel. I think it's just called Jonny Plays. I think if you search that, you'll find it. League Jonny Plays. I do commentaries of games there, and that's pretty much what I do. And of course, ACG podcast every Friday, 6:30 p.m. UK time. We're there almost religiously.
Almost apart from yesterday, yes. It is a good one as well.
True.
If you do like this kind of pace and tone of podcast, it is a similar one over there. I like it over there. So it is well worth checking out. All of Jonny's content is worth checking out, especially if you are into League of Legends, then you've got a great resource there. Clearly he's a good guy. So again, thank you for coming on. I am also working on this week's What the Fuck video. I'm a little bit late with it, but it's coming along. I'll probably get onto putting that together once we go off air here.
Have you revealed what the game is you're talking about?
No, so the What the Fuck ones, they're just like a weekly roundup of gaming news things.
Oh, gotcha.
Which I only started very recently, so this is only the fourth one that I'm doing, but they're just quite quick fire, and hopefully we'll be ready. It'll be ready today or tomorrow. I'm on it. Don't worry, it's coming. I will be playing many things over on the Asa Games channel, podcasts and shows and things on this channel, videos on this channel. And the Discord is well worth joining if you haven't already. So come through and talk to us there. Let's wrap it up.
So what's in the docket for your gaming channel this week? What are you playing?
Oh, that's a good question. So it's supposed to be Lies of P on Monday. It will be not supposed to be. I've been slacking the last week or so. I've been slacking. Lies of P needs to carry on for some Soul Crushing Monday. What's Tuesday? Expedition 33 is still supposed to be happening. I want to play various multiplayer. You asked a terrible question. There's such a long list of things that I want to cram in there, way more than there are days of the week. Many games, all of the games. Lies of P I'll commit to, and Expedition 33 I'll commit to. Wednesday is open, and Thursday, and and then there'll be split stream on this channel. You know how it goes. There's loads of things. Everyone that's in Discord will know where I am, so get in there if you want to watch any of that. And Jonny, do stick around as well. You mentioned various games, Space Marine and Gears of War, and things that we can play. I would love to do that, so please do stick around. Awesome. And we'll get some stuff arranged.
Sweet. Again, I'll have my people contact your people, and we'll go from there.
Yes, my people. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Thank you everyone for coming through, and I'll see you in the Discord.
Thank you for having me.
That is done. That was awesome.